You're watching the Vodka Stream.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to the Vodka Stream. Ooh, sorry there, Riddler. Didn't mean to bump you right there, but we're all good. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, another week down. Oh, here we go. Hold on a sec. Let me adjust some things. Ah, crap. I knew I was going to knock over somebody. Knocked over the Riddler. Hold on. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Oh, crap. He, disappeared. It's too dark. I can't see him. There he is. Swear, these little guys. Sometimes, and I'll talk about the new additions right here. Obviously, you could tell that I have some more additions from the Batman right there. That's for sure. All right, who's out there? Well, first off, let me, let's see who's out there first. Okay, so what is going on, everybody? Oh, well, that's a good. I'm glad you are excited for the Vodka streams. What's going on, Mr. Eric? Good to see you, buddy. Going to be fun always. Abel, what's up, buddy? Yes. I enjoyed the cameos. Did you, Dave? I did. I have nothing in my hair right now, but I think it looks fine. What's going on, Steph? Yeah, I know. Happy Friday, and for a long weekend, it'd be nice. So, but it's always Monday's going to be here before we know it. Sadly, but what's going on, Ryan? How you doing? Week's in the can. That's right. We got Dorian right here. Good to see you. If you're Jason, always good to see you. You love the trailer? Those cameos? Good. Yeah. We're going to be talking about, I ran a little poll also earlier today. So pretty interesting results. I will say. But, I think I know my audience. What's going on, Jonathan? Let's get nuts. Who's with me? Who's with him? Yeah, I think mainly most people are, You hated James Gunn. Please watch Kevin Smith interview with James Gunn where James Gunn praised Zach and how he's still friends with Zach and how Zach provided him with stunt coordinator of Peacemaker. Yeah, there's that aspect of it, of course, which is funny, obviously when it comes to all this right here. Yeah, I mean, Zach and James praise each other. I mean, even Zach during an interview said he was looking forward to Suicide Squad. I'm kind of curious if he's watched Peacemaker. That'd be interesting. I can't wait for yes. That's what I'm striving for. That full frontal nude scene in Rebel Moon. If Zach needs me to do it, I will. That's right. What's going on, Mr. Lane? Always good to see ya. Howdy. What's going on, Stephanie? Always great to see ya. It's always cool hanging out with you. Yeah, I know, right? Should be good. So yeah, I'm sure there's Jose. If Jose's out there, he might be toking it up. So there you go. We got some people smoking. If I ever get Kevin Smith on here, then we'll do a weed stream. It's just a cloud of smoke and just woof. Why not? They got David the Batman right here for today. Has been an interesting day. Definitely has been. Not me now being late. I know. I saw. I looked briefly at the. I had it up. I had the tab up, and I saw that you were quite early there, Miss Captain Gator Girl. What's going on, Loxu? We got Tyler. How you doing? We got Rhett. How's it going, buddy? Good to see you. Man down, out of the box. Well, hey, hold on. We'll get there. Don't worry. Just kind of saying hi, everybody. Yeah, you can watch that. It's good. How's it going, Bennett? Pretty eventful week for DC news. Hope we have a chance to celebrate the life of David Brenner. Yes, we will pour one and raise our glasses for that, for David Brenner, the editor who's edited. Been mentioned. I mean, even James Cameron tweeted out today. Zach also posted on Vero saying his condolences and everything. But yes, he did pass away today. So, we'll pour one out for him. Yo, what's going on, Jose? Peacemaker. You know, it's funny when I was titling this stream, I was like, I almost wanted to say, I even said out loud, I was like, Peacemaker something. I don't know. I almost said that. Happy. That's right. It's Happy National Wine Day, and you could tell by the cork right there in the bottle that it's currently right there. That yeah, I've come prepared. I have come prepared for National Wine Day. What's going on, Carlos? DeAndre, good to see you. Hanging out, doing all that. He kind of is a little bit, right? What's going on, ACS? Good to see you. All right. Let's see. We got William Powell, Vegas. Oh, I know. Sadly, my dad is moving back to California. I've talked about that a little bit before. You know, it's like a little bit of disappointment when it came to that. Dave, the most important question: are you sitting or standing? I am sitting. Look, I'm sitting. I got my bar stool up, my bar, you know, my pub table chair right here. So, oh man, what cameos? I saw nobody talking about. Yeah, right. Jeez, blazing. Someone's blazing, right? Nobody saw that, bro. I'm high, so I always makes my nights when my chats pop up and say, good. You know, enjoy that shit, man. Enjoy it. No, you're not. No, you're not. Don't lie, Jose. Let's see, Dave, did you see the Superman fans eating good vid? Hilarious. Love your videos. Hope, yeah. I didn't see that. I saw a tweet, though, I think. What's going on, Jedi MILF? Stream team. That's right. Yeah, we got John. I don't like the cameo. Deal with it. I didn't say bad things to hurt you personally. That's just my opinion. There you go. And that's perfectly okay. Perfectly okay that you didn't like the cameos. I was okay with the cameos. I didn't really like the joke. So there's that part. So yeah. More headless Superman people. I don't think people are actually too fine with it. I think a lot of people are like still wondering what is happening with Superman. You have to open up. I think what the lesson is, you have to open up your social media or something like that and have various opinions about all this stuff. So you really do. You have to have various opinions. That's what I try to have on my feed when it comes to a lot of things. You know, I have people that when I was seeing my feed, but the only thing I don't get is the fact that it's like, okay, I just don't get the obsession with hating something. That's what I don't get. But let me go ahead and pour myself a little yellowtail from the land down under. That's right. A little bit of Cabernet, a little red wine for National Wine Day right here. So here we go. There you go. I'm not going to be like that woman in the window across the street from the street in the window, whatever the hell that fucking show's called, where she fills it up to the brim. But anyways, to Mr. Brenner, to everyone, happy Friday. So cheers. Yeah, it's one of my favorite wines, Yellowtail. I don't get that California shit. Well, you know, every now and again, I guess you could say. But anyways, all right. So when it comes to the Funko Pops, now some people are like, "Oh my God, did you take the Batman out of the box?" My cork just fell out. Did you take the Batman out of the box? No, this is not the Hot Topic exclusive. This is just a Batman where he's shooting out his, I don't know, I guess he's shooting some grappling hooks out of his, you know. So it's the normal Battinson right there. So not to worry about. I didn't take the other one out of the box. So if you're watching, you're all right. We're good. And then of course I got Catwoman. Got Catwoman today. Got Penguin also. So now I got all four of them, but you know, there's still Bruce Wayne. There's Catwoman on the bike. I think there's Batman on the bike, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, all good right there. So we got Ben here too. Oh, good to see you. Good to see ya. But yeah, so don't worry that the Hot Topic exclusive with the sticker is still very much in the box because, you know, yeah. So okay, so we're all doing good. Ray Fisher probably would have complained. Yeah, Ray just like he posted about it. He did a little quote tweeting with WB right there, and it's just like, what do you expect? Obviously, he's still waiting for that apology. So Who knows if he's going to get it? Probably not, unless Discovery comes in and does something. But yeah, no, I actually was going to do like a spoilery Peacemaker spoilery video, but I thought, no, we're just gonna talk about it tonight. We'll talk about it tonight with all this. So I thought, nah, I don't need to do a spoilery video. I posted my Uncharted video. I posted that, and so I thought I'll just do that tonight, and I don't need to do anything. But yeah, I was hoping for a guest. Sadly, couldn't make it tonight. There definitely is a guest next Friday on the Vodka stream. An interesting person who's got something coming out, and I think it's actually perfect to lead into the week of the Batman, to be honest. So yeah, so look forward to that. The who I wanted to get on tonight sadly could not make it. So for reasons, but hopefully later on we'll get him on and everything. So don't worry about that. All right, sending out links. Let's get this party started. Everybody better have wine. Just kidding. It's fine. All right. So, but anyways, Uncharted, more like Uncharted. I know. Such a stupid joke. It was a very stupid joke. I don't know why that it just kind of came to me when I was in the movie theater. I'm like, I don't know why. I was like, Jesus Christ, what a stupid joke. But yeah, I mean, hey, if you enjoyed it, fine. That's perfectly fine. It's not a bad movie. If you watched my review, I didn't say it's not a terrible movie. It's just, there's like certain things where I was like, come on, man. But it's whatever. It's still entertaining. That's all that matters. Still entertaining. But I just had to make that stupid joke, because why not? Why not make the joke? Why not make that joke, So, but people are enjoying it, at least, I just don't see why you would care, Jose. If you like something, just keep enjoying it and ignore the people complaining. Yeah, there's that too, but I mean, it's really hard when a lot of people are just like, oh, you have orange juice? Yeah, sure. Whatever drink you have. You're not a big drinker, that's fine. Weekend's going to be nice. Can't wait to watch Belfast and Licorice Pizza in theaters. There you go. I haven't watched either one of those. I'm going to hopefully catch those soon. Because I've heard great things about them. Let's join the stream. But I haven't watched them yet. I think I'm probably gonna watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because that's on Netflix now. I hear it's terrible, which I figured it was going to be, because it's like, what else can you fucking do with that story? But I'm gonna see how bad it is. I'll probably do like a little quick video review thing, just why not? But I do plan on watching more episodes of Reacher. Okay. 2 weekends ago, I fired up the first episode. I'm actually really enjoying Reacher. The first episode. I enjoyed the first episode, I should say. What's his name? Mr. Alan Richardson. He's a likable dude. And I'm a sucker for sarcastic, douchey kind of characters, and that's what he kind of is. But anyways, we've got our first person showing up right here, Mr. Anthony.
What
What's up?
What's good, buddy?
Chilling,
man. Chilling.
Yeah, how you doing today?
Yeah, doing all right, man. Appreciate the invite, as always.
No problem, man. Yeah. Thanks for coming. I know last week I wanted you to come, and then I think we were in the middle of breaking down that DC Heroes reel, and then I saw that you saw your message, and I was like, oh shit, that was like a half hour ago. My bad.
I was watching, and it looked like you guys were about to wrap up to a certain extent, and then I was like, all right, I'm about to pass out, so I just
went
to bed. It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. I figured I'd jump on for a bit, man. Like I said, I appreciate the invite. Conversate for just a bit. I've been up since 6 this morning, my time. So
nice.
Yeah. As soon as and then worked all day. As soon as I got off work at like 3:30, raced to the movie theater to watch Uncharted, because I didn't know I was going to be able to see a showing it. Like it was like 4:30. I was like, oh, I gotta.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What'd you think?
Dude, I'll say this. I'm not even gonna say big or huge. I'm a massive Uncharted fan. Like
Okay, good,
Uncharted,
because I haven't played the game, so I
yeah,
didn't have
Uncharted
that
4
comparison.
is almost it's still one of my favorite games I've ever played.
Mhm.
Yo, for me, the movie was absolute fire. There were a little bit of things I saw with it that were like some of the CG and things of that nature, and it took me a minute to get used to. And like you said, you never played them, so it's like for you, Mark Wahlberg as Sully. You know what I'm saying? There's no getting used to for that for you, but for me, it took a bit, and it also took a bit for me to get used to Tom Holland as
Yeah.
Nathan Drake. But once I got into it, I was just like the music. I don't think there's all the beats they hit were perfect. Like I can't find like when the movie was over with and everybody left because I live in a small town and so like they're not privy to there's mid
Post
credits.
credit. Yeah.
Yeah. So like everybody left. I sat there and the credit scene happened and shit or whatever. And after I had the biggest smile on my face and I got up and left and I was like, yo, that shit was fire. It was it really captured they picked and choose what they wanted from each of the games, but like if they had released this as a game as a prequel to the other four,
Mhm.
I would have had zero problem with it. It was good, man. It was really good. Yeah.
Good, because like I said, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know like a tiny bit, but I never knew like full on story. But I was just kind of just looking at it as like, all right, this is a treasure hunt movie. I'm not basing it off of any kind of prior knowledge of anything, and I had my issues with it. I just, I want Tom Holland to not just be Spider-Man, and I'm rooting for him to be like the lead dude. And I think like I don't know, I just had a little issue with like it just seemed like he was trying to bring down his voice and his accent a little too much. It got a little wonky, but then when things were happening, you had that high pitched voice come out like that Peter Parker voice.
And
so it's just like, and then even like Mark Wahlberg, I was like, is he even like trying sometimes?
Yeah. No, towards the end, he fit Sully to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like the well, I know what you're talking about when Tom Holland got the high pitched voice. It was just like it fit. It kind of fit it fit what has happened in the games. In other words, like he really didn't get a high pitched voice, but like I understood him being accident prone in this one as far as how shit goes. The fighting, everything in it was just like, this is Uncharted. You know what I'm saying?
I thought the fighting was good. I thought there was like, and the action sequences were pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought him, like when it came to him doing, and you could tell that he probably did most of the action. And I thought I liked that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But I think it was just all the in-between stuff where I was kind of like, all right. But partially I was tired and I was kind of like at one point too, like a few points. So I was like, I know there's a little bit of that. Maybe I'm sure if I watched it again, I'd probably enjoy it way better.
I can't wait to watch it again. It was it was absolutely fire, fantastic, entertaining, and like I said, man, I played that shit, so it's just like I was watching it like, oh man, like
you're spotting things.
Yeah, and some of the fight sequences were just when you saw Drake get like pummeled over and it's some of the stunt work, I was just like, oh man, this is really like I played this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it was really, for me, it was absolutely fantastic. And
good.
I mean, you saw the credit scenes, and so I'm looking forward to what's next. I can't.
I'm kind of wondering. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens over the weekend. I mean, it's projected to do fairly decent. I don't know if that's going to warrant them. I mean, when you watch the post credit or mid post or whatever the hell, I mean, you're like, oh yeah, they're definitely trying to set up the franchise. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. But we got somebody who hasn't been here for a while. We got Mr. Garza showing up. What is up there?
What's up, man? Can you hear me?
How you doing? Yeah, I can hear
I
you.
haven't been on.
Good.
I haven't done anything in so long. I just don't know if all my shit's set up still.
I know you're like in a completely different location now, aren't you?
Yeah. I moved places and got a better view, and I live like in the hills now of Austin. So beautiful, like fucking right across the street. Yeah, across the street, like fucking $2 million, $3 million homes. Like, dude,
Jeez.
it's insane. Like, it trips me out. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Obviously, I'm in an apartment, but I'm on a hill.
Yeah.
So like I'm eye level with these millionaires. So that's like motivating, but I'm like in an apartment. So
yeah, you're like, I'm just like you, kinda.
I know, right? I'm like, fuck. I almost got that same view. But whatever, man. Yeah, what's up, man?
Nah, not much. Just chilling. It's National Wine Day, so I'm sipping on some red. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, you know what? I don't need an excuse to drink more wine. There we go.
Man, I didn't even know that, man. Otherwise, I would have probably gotten some. But I got some.
I know there's
regular beer, but
it's whatever. I don't discriminate. You know that.
Drink what you got.
No, we were just talking about Uncharted. I don't know if you saw Uncharted or plan on seeing it. We were just kind of discussing.
I haven't, but I do agree with Tom Holland thing. Like if you saw him in I think it was the Devil and
Yes,
whatever that movie was, dude was fucking phenomenal as an actor. Like he's a great actor.
He's a really good actor. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just that Spider-Man kind of like banter that I don't enjoy, and but whatever. Like it's not my movie. That's cool.
Yeah, I think Guy Ritchie needs to make a movie with him and just where he's just himself. He's got his accent and he's cussing up a storm because I think it was Thursday night. I just was like, for some reason, I was just watching Hot Ones. I was catching up on some Hot Ones videos, if you guys watch Hot Ones. And I finally watched the Tom Holland one, which was back in December, which is before Spider-Man came out. And he's just like, he's a very likable dude. He's a potty mouth, and he had of course, his normal accent coming out. And I'm just like, I'm telling you, if you get like, a non-Spider-Man, non-franchise movie where he's starring, where he just has his natural voice and it's R-rated, where he's talking like this, he will start winning more people over, where it's not like, oh no, it's not, it's just Peter Parker, because he doesn't sound like Peter Parker, first off, because of the accent and cussing up a storm. And I'm like, that's what he needs. He needs something like that. He needs like a Guy Ritchie to be like, hey, come over here. Let's do a little fucking British mob movie, huh? Let's utilize you over here.
I mean, that's all Guy Ritchie pretty much does. So.
Oh, I know, man. Yeah, except for when he took a break and did King Arthur and Aladdin,
like a fucking chump.
But whatever. Hey, I'm glad he went back to his back to the roots, or back to the basics with The Gentleman, and apparently, and then of course he had Wrath of Man with Jason Statham, which I thought was pretty good too. And I guess he got a new one coming out as well. So he's still pumping them out pretty good. So, but yeah, but Uncharted. I mean, I've never played the game. Have you played the game, Garza?
No. Is it on Xbox?
No, it's PlayStation exclusive.
That's right. I was thinking, yeah.
So
no, I haven't. I don't have a PS4 or 5. I just got Xbox. So
all right, we got your better half. We got your better half coming in, Garza.
Oh man, bro, we didn't even talk about this, man. It's a total surprise.
No, we didn't.
I didn't fucking want him to. I didn't want him to show up.
I didn't think you were gonna show up.
I know.
My wife is reading, so I'm like, all right, let me take let me take advantage right now and show up here and have a drink with the fellas, which I haven't done in a while. So
what's up?
Thanks for coming, Ben. Yeah, it's been a little bit. Been a little bit to have the Real Motion guys coming on.
Yeah. I've been literally lost in my own world, man. I can't describe it.
How's all that going? I remember the last time you were on, when you were the featured guest, you were talking about Academy and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's still in the works, but I have something else that I just started, but not really. Like, it's something I've had for a while. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what, bro? I'm gonna dive fucking head first into something real quick and just, fucking do it. Because I've been putting it off for like fucking years. So I'm like, all right. But when I come out and do it, you can be like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's probably why he's been so ghostly.
Cheers to ACS. Well, yeah. Whenever you want to come out, just come show up on the Vox stream. Want to come out? Yeah.
Well, most of the time I have my daughter.
Yeah.
But I didn't have her tonight because she is like having to take care of her mom because she had surgery or something. So it was like, whatever. Okay.
Cool.
You got a free slave, I guess. But whatever. That's cool, man. Whatever.
Nice. How you doing, Ben? How's everything going?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I honestly, I sort of I didn't know John was gonna be here tonight. Like I was putting their earbuds. It's like, is that John talking? So,
Yeah.
Goddamn right.
It was fate.
It was meant to be, man.
Yeah.
It's meant to be. Definitely was meant to be.
Yeah. Last time we were talking, I had talked shit, and I apologize, but I was still talking shit about you, Dave, because on our show on Wednesday, somebody was like, "Hey, who do you think has bigger muscles?" Well, now that Anthony's here, so I
now we got Anthony here.
You'll understand what I'm saying. But somebody was like, "Hey, who's got bigger muscles, you or Dave?" And I was like, "Well." I mean, if you had to look at it from a certain point of view, like Dave's muscles are a little smaller.
I'm shorter. I'm shorter and stockier.
Yeah, exactly. I'm elongated, so it takes a lot for me to like build that kind of muscle. So
exactly.
But now that Anthony's on here, Anthony, you're tall-ish, right?
Yeah,
you're like
tall-ish.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen those photos? How tall are you, Anthony?
6'3", 6'4".
Yeah,
are you fucking kidding me?
So, and the fact that his fucking forearms look like my goddamn biceps, that's how you know he's a lot bigger than I am. But
there it is.
I was just talking shit about you, Dave, but you weren't there, so I just wanted to let you defend yourself.
It's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine. I mean, like I said, there's a height difference because I'm shorter and stockier. So, I have that like Joe Rogan type body going on, almost like where he's just like short and stocky, kind of thing. Yeah, you're tall, lengthy, so it's a little bit different, But I mean, I did a sketch, of course, like this week where I was like, basically supposed to be like naked from the tits up, I guess you could say. Didn't show the nips, not showing the nips. But it's like you try to just like maybe I did some little shrugs before, like before you shoot that, they build it up a little bit. Yeah, just build it up a little bit. Hey, that's what you got to do. I mean, that's what the actors do before they.
Absolutely.
How many times did we see Henry Cavill do like lifting before he was like doing his stuff? You got to get that pump going.
Bro, speaking of pump going, did you see the fucking Wonder Woman actress that was a stand-in?
Dude! Yeah.
Fuck, bro. I was
sick.
Bro, I was like
I know. There's even some people talking about that. We're like, hey, I mean, nothing against Gal. She's the perfect Wonder Woman. But man, when like sometimes see like some of these, when you see like some cosplayers and they're freaking like showing that those arms, it's like, ooh, wow, But Gal did good too. I mean, like when she got cast at first, a lot of people were like, "Wait a minute!" But she, like, when she put some on. She put that on. I was like, "Okay, now totally on board with that." Because, but of course, that was going to be the case. Hi, Mom. I see you out there. Mama Film Junkies in the chat. Hi.
Hey. Hooray! No, I'll hold my banter with
cousin
with the
you're fine.
I'll stick to formalities,
You're good. No, but I mean, I guess that is the main topic. Well, first off, I think like one of the we'll go in order, I guess you could say, because I mean the first thing that was kind of like was discussed about was the big topic was the new Batsuit, the new Michael Keaton Batsuit, and I'm sure we've all seen it. Have you all seen it? Yeah. See the stunt suit. So what are our thoughts? Anthony, you go first.
I mean,
damn. Tell us how you feel.
No. I think it's we haven't seen it like on the screen yet, so it's kind of hard to like, what I'm saying, like put it in a certain position as far as how it looks. I know there was some weird shit that was going on like on the shoulders here. I don't know what that was, but you talk about for Batgirl, right?
Yeah.
No, it looked okay. but until I see it actually in action, and some of the photos that were posted looked like it was a stunt suit, just because of
definitely is.
Yeah, stunt suit or whatever. So I I can't really pass like a big judgment on it until I see it in action, or until I see what they do with it in post production as far as putting the VFX on it, if they are going to put some on there. But it's, it is what it is. It had obviously it had, the bat symbol that's most notable for Keaton, which is the black oval, yellow with the black bat symbol and stuff like that. So I can't. I guess I'll say it looked okay, but I can't pass much judgment. I need to see it in action, like as far as what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
But if that's the direction, if they're going the direction of Keaton is that Batman, then that fits, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like it fits what they're trying to do, I guess. If Keaton is going to be the Batman and they're going with that exact ensemble of the suit, and I that's it just fit for me.
Okay. Garza.
And you know what? You know what really chets my ass?
You, America.
Yeah, right.
You know what? Really grind
damn it.
Gears.
No, I don't. When it comes to this whole Michael Keaton being Batman, like I didn't grow. I mean, I did grow up with him, but I didn't. Like I grew up with fucking Val Kilmer. Like that was the first Batman I saw in theaters.
Nice.
and that was what I
Adam
experienced.
West, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you were back in the 40s, actually.
I know. No, it was the very first Batman.
Yeah.
The very first Batman.
Yeah.
Ben has
he saw 66 when he was a teenager. So it resonated. Yeah, exactly. But like, seeing the suits and like it's whatever. Like obviously, if I were to when I watch those movies, I'm not looking at it going, yeah, that suit is indestructible, or yeah, that suit is whatever. I know the suit's rubber because that's what it looks like. I mean, that's what it is. We shouldn't even be knowing about any of this shit right now. Like, dude, we should just, if we were back in the days that we grew up, we would have no idea any of this shit was happening. We'd be like, oh, I don't know what the suit looks like. Like, what if we just wait till the movie comes out?
Yep.
That's what it should have been like. And now you have fucking photos coming from a film that technically we don't even know. We haven't even seen the other film that it's supposed to like follow technically. You know what I mean? Right? With Flash and so like, it's like, we're getting out of context photos of an out of context fucking timeline. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. So when it comes to that suit, like, dude, okay. Yeah, it's cool. Does it look like a Batman suit? I mean, no, it just looks like rubber. I'm sorry. Like it's not, it's not like anything special. Now, if they made it look special, like as much as I don't want to say, Christian Bale's Batman, at least his bat suit looked like armor. Like it looked like practical. It looked like, yeah, dude, that's what you'd be wearing if you were trying to stop bullets. But Keaton's Batman, that's just nostalgia. That's all that is. It has nothing to do with that's a practical bat suit because they didn't have to back then.
I don't have a problem. Well, you made a very good point that them showing all those behind the scenes stuff, it sort of took away some of the magic. Because I remember when I saw the Batsuit for the first time was in a poster, and I let my imagination run wild. Then the second time I saw an upgraded suit was on Batman Forever, and that suit was amazing. But I didn't see no behind the scenes, nothing, no clips, nothing leaked. It was just you see it when you see a trailer. That's and I think and that magic has gone away because now you know what's gonna look like by the time the trailer hits or the movie comes out. I personally like the suit. I just do not know where this suit fits, because if you're Batman, you're the world's greatest detective, and you have all this money to improve on whatever you have.
Yeah,
and
surely you would do it
imagine
after 20 years,
him going like 20 years with having something similar to the one he had when I was 14 in 1989. So I know there's gonna be it's gonna be an amalgamation of that, but it has to be like a vast improvement technologically wise when it comes when we see the suit, because the suit that we see that he's there with Gordon, and it looks like it's gonna be a flashback.
Oh yeah,
so it's definitely a flashback closer to the Batman 89, which will make sense. and then we see him in a modern day setting with a different suit that it fits a more modern look or more expensive, that you actually improve on the technology for the suit, later on. So I think like if it's for that era, it's perfect. Like if it's like 4 or 5 years after 89, I think that suit looks perfect. And that was a what's the name? The stuntman suit. So it's gonna fold weird. It's not gonna be the real material that what it's gonna look like on film. And from my understanding, also Keaton has some input on the design.
Did he?
As one of those bargaining chips when he has
when he was about to sign.
Yes, he said, no, I want this to be this way and this way. Maybe move his head around. Who knows?
I heard that about Affleck. I heard that about Affleck when it came to the Flash bat suit, where it was like, all right, I'll do this, but you got to make this suit not. So I mean, what's funny too is like I think when it came to like the BVS suit and maybe even the Justice League suit also. I mean, they always have to take in consideration a stunt suit because you have to have a stuntman that's going to be moving around and doing everything. But you look at that, you look at the BVS Batsuit stunt suit. Right. There wasn't much that they took away from that. I mean, I think that was what was so great about that design, and that's why it's like a lot of people's favorite design is the fact that when you made the stunt suit, you didn't really have to take away from it too much. It's like maybe there was, I don't know what they had to take away to make Citrone and everybody too, like, be able to maneuver through that. But I think there was just, we look at the behind the scenes, you look at Citrone, you look at Damon, you look at them in the suits and you're like, wow, that looks like it's the actual suit. But, but of course, when it came to the jail suit, it was a little bit more stiff. I think you could tell.
Yeah, no, I didn't like the Justice League suit actually. Yeah, with the pads.
Yeah, I didn't like the
I've always said that
the cowl. Yeah. It was just the cowl that I just didn't.
Yeah,
I have a particular.
Yeah, it was weird because it seemed like the ears went in a look just a tad bit and then came back out.
Exactly.
And I was just like, oh,
they were like slicked back almost.
But I attribute that to the shit that Justice League probably was under. You know what I mean? Like, so things couldn't be put in like they couldn't focus so much on that because they were having to worry about all this other bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
Because I do think like obviously the script was, it was great. It just wasn't BVS level. You know what I mean? Yeah. And same thing with the action. As great as the action was, there was not a warehouse scene. Not that there needed to be, but it just
the brief like parademon thing that was cool, but it wasn't on the level.
Yeah, it wasn't crazy, which I didn't need that, but I'm just saying that I feel like Justice League, even though Zack did what he wanted to do for 4 hours of it, it's still he probably wanted to go harder than that, and he was already like time constraint to where he was like, I can't do anymore. Like that'll work fine. Let's get it going. Which sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, I've talked about, of course, what I think about the new Keaton suit. It's like, I said, the torso looks weird, and like even like the shoulder pec armor is like sticks out. I think it sticks out a little too much. It's kind of funky like that, but I think when we actually see it, it's not going to look as bad. It's just because it's a stunt suit and it's whatever. We know all that stuff. But I do like some people were complaining about the fact that his belt is black now, not gold like it was, and I'm like, I like that, to be honest. I like the all black belt to be, so I was digging it. But I actually wanted to just talking about this, go around the horn and also say top 3 favorite bat suits. Anthony, you go first. Top 3.
Sorry about the noise. Every single niece in my family is at my house right now. They're all here. They're all here.
That's good, man. They're living life, man.
Yeah. No,
I wish I could go back to that, just screaming at fucking 10:30, like not giving a fuck. You know what I mean?
How great was that? Especially when you're like with your cousins and stuff, and you're at the
no worries. You had no bills. You had no worries. Like
no shit. Yeah. And then I love the fact that I remember like times where like I'd be with like, we're at dinner with my cousins and you just looked at your cousin in a weird way. And then all of a sudden the giggles just started and you couldn't fucking stop. Remember those days? Jesus Christ. I remember doing that stuff and then you would just like, can we be excused? go off,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you just laugh your ass off. You don't even know what the fuck you're laughing at.
Can we go to
That's
Blockbuster or
exactly
Hollywood Video?
what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
being
happening.
young again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But anyway, what would you say is your top three?
Top three. Obviously, number one, the BVS suit for Batman was just. It just hit on levels that I can't even. The first time seeing that shit on screen, like for the first time, I was just like, "There it is,
just so beautiful.
It's just fire." Oh man, I haven't seen. Well, I've seen Pattinson's obviously in trailers and things of that nature, and I'll be seeing it, in a couple weeks on screen or whatever.
Not even a couple weeks, like a week and a half.
Yeah, a week and a half. Yeah. I like the armor, just the way it looks. As far as Ben's goes, like when I say it's number one, just look at it. That shit, it's gray, black Batman logo, and it just flows with that. And then Pattinson's, I'd say, from what I've seen, number two. Oh man. I'd say Batman Begins, the suit was fire.
There you go.
Yeah. The other two movies, I think the bat symbol was too small. So, like, if you're asking legitimately just strictly on the Batman suit, I'd have to go with Batman Begins as my third, because the other two, like the Batman symbol, got real small, and the suit, like, I do like the fact that he was like, "Yo, can you change my headgear because I can't turn back." Makes it easier.
Make him backing out of the driveway.
Easier. Yeah, it makes it easier back. Yeah. So that would be my three. That'd be my three.
Cool. Garza?
Man, I got to go. Obviously, BVS Batsuit, but then also, so then that would be the first, and then second would be the BVS armored suit, because it's legit. Okay.
Yeah.
But the third would be Val Kilmer. Like, dude, that was that Batsuit. Nice. It was legit, man. I mean, he looked like I was like, yeah, that's Batman, bro. Because it didn't look like rubber. That was the thing.
No. I mean, and it was like chrome almost. I mean, you look at that suit. I mean, even just the promo shots, you're like, man, I mean, it's probably the blackest suit because he looks like a fucking shadow. I remember when I was putting together my thumbnail, I was like, placing, I'm like, Jesus Christ, Val Kilmer has he looks like almost a shadow, except for, you could see like the little reflections from them. I'm like, but that. And they always call it the Panther suit, and I think that shit. I love that suit too. I mean, I'm always like, there's something about the '89 suit that I'm always just like, it's probably a nostalgia and whatever. But yeah, I like the fact that you brought up the armored suit, because, I mean, Zach said, "Fuck it, we're gonna do this."
Yeah, no, that thing is fucking beastly, bro. Like,
it is.
I like the George Clooney suit a lot.
You like the nipples, don't you?
Minus the nipple and the cow. I think, like, to me, will be George, Val, and then BBS suit.
Nice.
Because, like, if you look at that suit, that looks fucking perfect. It's rubber, but the nipples is what kills it, and the cow is not that great. But that symbol is just.
The symbol is really cool on the Clooney suit.
It was fucking sleek. Everything about it.
The fact of the matter is, like, this, like the suit, it's kind of weird because it every now and, like, when you see certain things, it looks bluish. It has like a navy blue
on the lights.
Yeah, and then some shots it looks like it's full on, just a black suit. But I like the fact that they decided to change the emblem and have it like 3D first off.
Yeah,
and then it didn't have the yellow background. And I actually really like the symbol that's on it when it comes to that suit. So, yeah. So I see what you're saying, but I don't know. Still, though, it's like when I was like trying to put my list together when I was doing that stream, I was like, it kept getting pushed down because I was like, oh, I like this one better. I like that one better. I like that one better. Even the jail costume, I mean, not as good. And like we were talking about.
Yeah.
There's also the tactical suit, which looks cool, but I was never keen on the whole goggles. The goggles always kind of weird to me, but
I mean, I get it, but other than them being there, I would have thought, this is just me, I would have thought, Zach would have done something with them, like have a purpose, like at least shown us why he's even.
At least see a shot where the goggles actually block something from fucking his eyes up. Yeah,
I thought it was like night vision goggles or something to see in the dark.
Yeah, there was never like a point of view through the goggles, was there?
Yeah, we didn't get a single one.
I know Zach doesn't like doing point of view shots. I get it. That's very understandable, but at least for the way Zach always does things, if he's gonna do something, he usually gives it in the intention and he tells you why he's doing it. Like he doesn't just randomly, add things just to do it. But
that one was just cosmetic.
It would have been fire if the one shot where Ben is going in reverse in the Batmobile and Zack Snyder's Justice League. If the glass would have shattered and you saw it bounce off of his goggles, then you at that point you could have been like, okay, I get what the
bulletproof. It's like an expensive shot just to expose the goggles.
Well, yeah, but he was saying
but the way you wearing them.
He would say,
makes you wonder too if maybe there was something that was supposed to be there, but it never, never
don't get that started.
I know.
I'm telling you.
Release the goggles cut.
Listen, man, I mentioned it. I was like, dude, I feel like the Justice League, I felt like it was 15, 20 minutes shorter than it probably should have been.
Oh yeah,
I felt like there were some things. Yeah, and I was like, I feel like there's things and just because of the way some of it was flowing, so I figured they had to keep it at 4 hours because obviously they were going to go for 1 hour. And by the way, shout out to Dave Brenner. Sorry, unfortunately,
That's
so crazy, man. That must have been a surprise. So.
Yep.
And he was the editor for BVS. Yeah, BVS and
BVS, Man of Steel, and all that stuff. But we're gonna bring in Mr. Krypton Cage, who is disguised as Peacemaker, apparently.
Hey guys.
What's going on, KC?
My boy.
Since this triggers a lot of people, I'll just keep it.
I'm just surprised that it gets so many people fucking pissed.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I can't imagine I can't imagine getting pissed off at Boba Fett because I'm upset with how the Last Jedi and the sequel trilogy were I can't believe you guys are liking Boba Fett. They're just doing that. Whatever. It's bro, what the fuck difference does it make? If I don't like it, I don't like it. It doesn't. Yeah. I don't need to tell anybody else why it's a problem. That shit's weird, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Just don't watch it.
Yeah.
Just don't watch it.
I watched 2 episodes and I was like, oh, I'm skipping this shit.
Yeah.
Which stuff?
The first 2 episodes of Boba Fett.
Not taking it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just watched that.
Yeah, and that's. I would say give it a try, but even then, since you're already 2 episodes in, you're basically halfway through the season. So
because there's a little bit of a stretch where he takes a break.
Yeah, so it's oh, okay, well, more power to you, buddy.
I know Rodriguez is your boy, but oh my god, he set the bed on this one.
No, I don't know if he did, man. I think it's who shit the bed.
No, but some of those choices that he made.
It's Kathleen Brody. I don't think it's if Rodriguez was able to get his shit down, if he was able to do it non-constructive, hey, I'm gonna do it my way, I think he would have gone all out. Because did we really? I don't think we needed to see that much of the Tusken Raiders.
I kind of like those scenes, though.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I get it. I understand it. Right, and I get that, and it's oh, okay, but for them to not be confident in keeping him the whole time, to bring in the Mandalorian and then basically bringing in Mandalorian and fucking Jedi, and now you're bringing in Ahsoka and Luke. It's bro, I thought this was about Boba Fett.
He needed a lot of help. Nobody was
right, but he didn't need. He didn't need their help. Fuck.
You need to be carried. Yes, let's carry this motherfucker over the goal line.
Right, though. But you're right.
He ain't doing it by himself.
At the end of the day, guess what? He was never supposed to do that shit. He was literally just a background fucking character. You know what I mean? He wasn't supposed to be a fucking show. That's why Disney is oversaturating everything. Because guess what? Is Boba Fett a show?
I actually kind of agree with that because, even explaining it to other people who are maybe not like too keen on Star Wars and they know just like, oh yeah, I've watched the movies and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Book of Boba Fett. I mean, yeah, Boba Fett. He's got a show. It's like, sometimes there's people that have been like,
why?
Wait, who's Boba Fett? I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Remember the bounty hunter that was trying to get Han? And he was like, they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah. The reason why you don't really remember him is because, he had brief time in Empire and then he quickly died died. Now we know that, but he quickly fell into a sand butthole.
And they're like, what?
Yeah, I know. I always like to say sand butthole. I don't know why, but I just always like
that's the perfect analogy.
I know the star like, but it's just I always make fun of it. But at the same time, I was kind of going, at this character, if you like, if you really break down the character in which we have, it's just like, he is a badass character, but it's just like, man, sometimes it's like I don't think they were confident in it. That's why they were like, well, we're gonna bring back Mondo and we're gonna bring back all this shit to kind of be like, hey guys.
But that's also weird though too, right? Because why the fuck didn't you just do a third season of Mandalorian simultaneously? Like, dude, it's half the fucking season.
To be honest, I think Ray, Flightcast Ray, he mentioned a good point. He's like, if it was just like the stories of Tatooine, or if it was not just a Book of Boba Fett story, maybe it was just a story about Tatooine, maybe it was just like about that, like the various stories, the old, the Wild West of bounty hunting, and not like Boba Fett central, I guess. Maybe that would have helped it, maybe, or something. I don't know. But
I think they fucked themselves with Grogu. That's what I think.
That's what happened. Everybody fell in love with that little shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't know how to move on to it. They don't like, dude, tell me the story. Like, how much has the story progressed? Like,
spoilers. If you haven't seen
we were talking spoilers like crazy.
Okay.
This was like 2 weeks ago.
I was literally sitting there watching it like, stay with Luke. I want to see more.
I mean,
just stay with Luke, Grogu.
Yeah, no, we kind of wanted to see more of that.
I was just like, oh, come on, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just stay with Luke.
It'd be one thing if he was like able to talk and like, move faster and shit, and he wasn't like a child. Yeah. Okay, cool. Like, all right, dude, I want to see him wielding the Darksaber. Fine, fuck it. But dude, he can't even fucking. He's literally the same size as the hilt. Like, dude, come on, man. Like,
he laid out the chain metal, and he was just like, yo, the chain metal or this fire lightsaber. And I was like,
he wanted to
so
see.
I mean, but also that doesn't make sense either. Why would Luke, of all people, tell him he has to choose when, like, the whole point is he wanted his father to make a choice of his own will, right? But he wasn't. It wasn't like he was like, oh, you have to do it, or I'm never gonna fucking be your son. No, he was like, no, I believe in you. Why the fuck are you gonna make Grogu, this kid who has no idea about any of this shit, just all of a sudden make a choice?
Choose.
Like, plus we knew if he knew his dad had to fucking make a choice of like Padme or the fucking Palpatine and all that. And look what happened. You know what I mean? Like, why are you leading that kid into this fucking situation, man?
Yeah,
it's all about choice.
With your computer fucking voice.
It's where the Matrix got it right. They talked about choice.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but no, but going back on topic of Batsuits, KC, since you're here, what are your top 3 favorite Batsuits?
Well, my first one would obviously be the BBS one.
There you go.
But since Garza chose the armored one, I will go with the Nightmare one as the second.
That's a little bit. Okay. See, I have an issue with that because some people were giving me shit like, well, what about the Nightmare suit? I'm like, what's the BBS?
That's the BBS with a trench coat over it.
Yeah.
That's like
you
a little bit of
the
a
cape and replace it with a trench coat.
Yeah. That's why I didn't include it in my list. I was like, oh, come on. It's the same suit.
Okay, then second one would be actually the Keaton suit because I like the classic colors of it. The black and yellow.
89.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
89.
That was my third. Yeah. Or second. Yes. I can't remember.
So yeah, I like that one. But then again, the third one, I don't know if I would pick a live action one. It would have to be one of the Arkham games.
Okay.
Those are
those were hard.
Oh yeah, those are really good. Those are really good.
But wait, how about our least favorite one?
Oh,
Adam.
my least favorite was the fucking Gotham piece of shit suit. God damn. I hated that shit.
Yeah.
I hated that one so much. Like when I
Pull
saw
that
the
shit from
pictures, I was like,
Party
what are
City.
you guys doing?
It said Party City.
I preferred the Titans little shit that didn't have any bat logo on it. It was literally hockey bats. It literally was that. He looked like one of those guys, but I prefer that suit over that damn Gotham suit. I'm like, really? It just did not work for me. I remember when I saw the shot, I was like, oh God. I literally was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously they wanted that show to probably run for a few more seasons where David was, what's his last name? I can't even remember. David M. They wanted him to grow up a little bit more, but then they're like, no, we're going to cut it at 5. And then it's like, well, we're going to make you a Batsuit. Sorry. Here it is. And it was so bad.
It was horrible.
So horrible.
This is
I'm
network
gonna
TV.
go
They could
deep cut.
invest at least
I'm gonna go
$300.
deep cut and say Batman Begins whenever he is just starting out. He's got the hockey mask.
Oh, that's
the
not
gun.
I like that one actually.
Bro, it's just hey, dude, he's Batman at that point.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But we got Mr. Steven showing up right here.
What up,
man.
dude?
Hey.
Hey, what's
Finally.
going on, bud?
Not
We're
much.
talking Batsuits, so go ahead, Steven. Now it's your turn.
The
What
least
are your
favorite
thoughts?
one.
Yeah, the
for-
nightmare suit is totally its own suit. Fuck you, and that's the best one.
You fucking dick.
I mean,
I knew he was gonna say, yeah, of course.
I mean,
yeah,
like what?
yeah.
Like we're gonna say that recycling element.
Throw a knife at Steven.
Like if you're gonna say it doesn't count, then like anything where the cowl is similar,
Oh,
or
no, I
like
never said it
or
didn't
like
count.
oh
It's-
No,
the
no.
armored
cow.
the armored suit is over.
It's the same suit. He just has a trench coat and a pair of goggles over.
I mean, the armored suit is on over the normal suit. So does that even
No.
count
Oh,
as its own suit? Like
it's not.
no, that's
No,
because
it
he
is
has an
not.
armor, not a trench coat. What the fuck is
no,
he gonna
but it's armor
And he has
on
a cape on
over.
that
It's a
armor.
different
He has a
cow.
cape.
It's a different
It is
cow.
a different cow too.
On the armor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He adds to
Although
who
I
he
don't
is
give
as a
shit.
Batman.
I'll say the trench coat is another cowl or another suit. Look, I don't care.
Makes him
I mean,
stronger.
I don't know. That was just the way I kind of looked at it. Was like
He also has a different pant.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's wearing
that's
cargo
true. He does.
pants.
Yeah,
So
cargo
yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
the
he
only
does-
thing is his test.
Well, and I think
So, yeah,
technically
that's different
speaking,
suit.
it's a different version of that suit in
'Cause it's a
costuming
different
because it's
timeline.
got the pocked bullet marks
Yep.
more in the.
Oh, watch out.
So
Okay, so in actuality, that means Battinson has 2 suits because he walks out of that after being shot up in that tunnel, which is going to be badass, and in his suit has got bullet holes in it, so that's a different suit. What are we talking about here? We're cutting corn. I don't know what we're talking. Anyway, Stephen, go ahead.
well, let's put it this way: if
Okay.
you're going to be describing the nightmare, are you going to say, and Batman is wearing his normal suit anyway? So moving on. Or are you going to be like, it's the Batman, but he's wearing goggles and a trench coat, and he's like all Mad Maxed out? Like
He's got goggles.
it's a different look, right?
fucking
It's a
hand
different
gloves.
look, but not a
It's a
different.
different
like-
look. It's the same
mean,
suit though.
Okay, so like you don't want a Nightmare Batman action figure and a
no, I'm not saying that. That's not what we're doing.
We don't know.
Oh,
if
man,
we don't know if he
it's-
reinforced his suit because remember he's still looking for kryptonite, so we have no idea if he's enforced his suit. That's the whole reason why he's got bullets, right?
It's a
Like, he
different
could've done
outfit.
some shit. Yeah, he could have done something.
It's
Man.
an
All I
outfit,
knew-
right?
But I mean, like,
wearing
what?
that
Outfit?
same outfit, matches his shirt.
It just
Yeah,
it's a
different fucking
weird it's just a
Okay.
weird delineation to me to be like, oh,
Yeah.
it doesn't count when like it looks completely different on screen. Yeah, sure. Like in universe, he's wearing the same like maybe he's wearing the same underpants. Does that count? Like, it looks different enough that like I would have a BVS suit Hot Toys next to a Nightmare suit Hot Toys, and I would consider those 2 different Hot Toys. I wouldn't be like, oh no, it's the same one. It's just the same Hot Toy with a trench
What
coat.
if you get the BBS
Like,
suit and you put a trench coat on and then a pair of goggles and a pair of combat pants? Will
Then
you
you're
achieve
changing
the
them.
exact
He
same?
doesn't look, yeah, no,
you have to. You're literally changing the costume items out to
No,
make
you're
a
dressing-
new.
No, you're dressing up Batman.
I mean, that's true.
No,
But
but the question is, what is your favorite one? You have to make significant changes to it to make it from one to the other. It's not. It's
No,
not
it has
like
to be a different
See
suit.
the argument.
it's not like we're not talking about like, oh, do you like him with the cowl or without the cowl? We're talking
All right,
about
you know what? Let's call it BBS 2.0.
Sure.
Well, it's
Pretty much.
timeline, so it works.
I can do
Let's
that.
compromise.
That's a different world. So remember, he dies in that world. So, I mean, I'm just saying, he doesn't have the regular suit because he died, right? So,
Interesting.
we're looking at timelines.
Okay, so back to it, Steven. Top 3. You can even count the Nightmare if you want to. Well, I'll allow it.
I can count the Nightmare, and I am.
Okay.
As I specified per my email.
Hope we found you well.
Fuck you!
That's good.
Trevor's is fire.
You need to get the same one, not that guy, but the guy right next to him from Joe Dirt. And he's like, "Hey, why does the rainbow form? It just does."
It does.
Try to get that one. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think though that I would say, Nightmare suit, BVS suit, and then the JL armor suit. Oh no, but which
Tactical?
the tactical suit? But I like the BVS armored suit too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think that the suit with the goggles from the end of Justice League doesn't get enough love for
That's
being
why I was kind of
you,
like.
you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of those Batman the Animated Series action figures like you used to see in the checkout aisle. Where you're like, I don't remember him wearing this in the show, but it's awesome. Like it's kind of
that
that.
was every
Like,
movie. That was every movie too. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
he has an aqua suit and it's green.
yeah. Well, and
But I
that's
still bought it.
No, and that's what I think that didn't get enough appreciation overall about like what Snyder did with Batman is across you have a different suit for like Keaton has the one suit and then it's basically the same suit but with like a different emblem, and then even like the Clooney suit, like it evolved by that time, but like you didn't get this huge spectrum of looks between those. I mean, the
You mean he didn't get a trench coat?
Hey! The Val Kilmer sonar suit is sexy.
Yeah, the
But-
sonar suit is awesome. Yeah.
But I think it's crazy though that in 2 movies, with Zach, you get 3 Batman costumes in BVS, and then 2 more in Justice League. 2 new ones in Justice League, and if you're going to talk about total different costume looks in each movie, I mean, he's also got the Nightmare suit in Justice League. So you've got 3 in BVS and 3 in Justice League. And that's like doubles the amount of suits that we've seen total up to that point. Whereas like Bale had the same suit the whole time. And I know they made changes to him, like minor changes, but we're looking at like it's like the difference between, actually, I don't want to make that distinction because I like Andrew Garfield's suit changed between the movies. I like the original look better, but like
Same with Toby's. Yeah.
that wasn't
Iron
like
Man, you fucking kidding
so. That wasn't so
Yeah,
drastic. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Iron Man's a good example because it's and they're trying to sell toys and stuff with that. But I always thought that was funny that like Snyder really hit the like, oh, we know you want all these Batman suits, and that was just cool. And also it makes you wonder about like what else might we have seen if they had gone
Continue with
like,
sequels and stuff.
like would he have had other armored suits or something like that? Other variations?
He would have had that aqua suit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even in
Batman
Suicide
Returns
Squad,
look.
obviously it's like the BVS suit, but he's got like the breather mask. I mean, the variation of Batman looks that Affleck sports throughout his various appearances are way more. Like I said, it reminds me of going to like the toy aisle and being like, oh, you've got the aqua suit, you've got the glider suit, you've got and it like really hits on all that way more than any other live action appearances, other than like. I feel like Batman and Robin, you got a little bit into that where you're just like, okay, they're like costume changes and they've got all the action, like the vehicles in those movies where you're like, I feel like they're trying to sell a toy here.
I know. I remember the Clooney ice suits.
Yeah.
I kind of made fun of that. I'm like, it's cool, but it's like, Jesus Christ. It was like it was like they were prepared to face Mr. Freeze. All 3 of them.
Clooney and like that, both Schumacher movies, but especially Batman and Robin was always weird to me because it feels like there's a version of that movie that like really leans into the animation / Batman 66 sort of tone.
You mean the fantastical aspect of Batman?
Yeah, like Batman and Robin, if you add in like the wham pow zap bubbles
Which I think people have in that, skater scene, the opening scene with the
exactly.
ice crew.
You do more of that, and you know, like, you edit it a little bit differently and kind of lean into the camp a little bit. It's a totally different movie, but the problem is that it was like growing out of that Burton verse where they're like still kind of maintaining like the fringes of that Burton tone, but with this sort of Batman 66 thing going on, and it just didn't work. But there's a part of me that's like, you know, I can see like a leaning into the camp version of that movie that would be kind of a cult classic.
No, I mean even like when they were making like that public appearance with the diamond thing, and it was like, oh yeah, Batman and Robin are literally making a public appearance at a party. And it's like, all right, I mean, he's not, I mean, this whole franchise was established that he's like in the shadows, but it was just like they were, I see what you're saying, Steven. And then even like even work with Gordon a little bit more, like they're, showing up to like a crime scene or something like that. It was like, all right, they were kind of leaning into that. But, and I will say too, the whole Alfred like almost dying thing, and there was like a scene between him and Bruce. I thought like, well, that's a really good scene. Yep. If I'm going to pick out a really great scene from Batman and Robin, which is not easy, it's that scene where, Bruce is talking to Alfred, who's like laying in bed sick. And then there's that, like, I thought that was actually a very well executed scene. And I was like, oh, there was something here. It wasn't just all camp. There was some depth in this.
Well, it takes you back to Batman and Superman both just have a long history of like directors trying to go a certain direction and the studio pushing them in a different direction, and it just resulting in a tonal mismatch that doesn't work. Because that's what the Schumacher cut and all that is all about, is that like Joel Schumacher is a talented director, as the rest of his kind of filmography shows, and we know that he was going for something different with those movies, but it's weird because you feel like they were pivoting away, and that's why like Burton didn't continue on, and they brought in Schumacher, is because they're like, oh no, we don't want that serious look. But I feel like Schumacher was like, okay, cool, so let's do like the campy Batman, and they were like, well, no, it's got to be serious too. And it's like, you can't have your cake, like commit to a tone. Like if there's one thing like WB needs to learn for any superhero movies, it's not about what the tone is, it's about being the tone that it is. And they're too focused on whether or not it's choosing the right tone as opposed to committing to whatever tone it's supposed to be.
Well, that actually, and not to derail it, but that literally leads into Peacemaker, with Peacemaker being its own fucking thing, and yet still having, spoiler alert, Justice League.
We're gonna talk spoilers for Peacemaker.
I mean, is anybody really not spoiled for that?
I know, right? I know. Yeah.
But my point though is that, like, no bullshit. Me and Ben were talking about it on Wednesday. He was like, dude, I think Superman's gonna show up, and I was like, what? I was like, no fucking way, dude. And he was like, no, people are saying Aquaman. I was like, I mean, maybe, but what the fuck, dude? That cow has nothing to do with water. Like, why the fuck would he show up? So the whole time we're talking, I'm just pointing out one person, like maybe they're gonna show up. So when I fucking saw 4 of the fucking Justice League, I was like, holy shit. I don't give a shit if it was, I didn't care if it was like shadows, if nobody even talked, if they would have just been there, because they had the likes of Henry and Gal, and obviously Aquaman and Flash. I was like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Like
well, and I guess before getting too far into it, because I overall kind of liked it in their appearance. I have more things to say about it, but earlier in the episode, I was and based on just kind of earlier in the season, I was like, oh, I felt like it was going to be like Deadshot or someone was going to show up.
Yeah, I was thinking somebody,
because Adebayo was on the phone with her mom, and she was like, send in the Justice League.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
And the further the episode went on, I was like, okay, it's getting to a point where like, I know not everybody trusts James Gunn, but I was like, at this point, because of what they're doing with the show, I don't think James Gunn is, he's too savvy to create a scenario where the crew is saved by Deus Ex Machina of some other hero coming in. And as things got more desperate, I was like, okay, Deadshot showing up and saving the day would ruin this for me now, because all of the character arcs that we've been, this external force coming in and saving them totally takes away from everything they're going for here. And I was like, so how are they going? What are they going to do? But at the same time, a throwaway cameo of like Harley Quinn showing up and being like, oh, surprise, I'm useless, is so pointless that when they showed up, I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I probably would have picked somebody else, but the way that it was presented, and I think keeping in mind a lot of the people that seem to hate it are people that haven't watched the whole show and don't kind of get the context of the tone that it exists in. Because I thought what was very interesting about it, and people are going to hate me for comparing it to Snyder, but remember when Zach talks about like the way it shows Superman in BVS being like what's the wrathful god, and he talks about, because that's how people see him, right? And I thought what was really cool that James did with the Justice League's introduction here was, on one hand, it's like, okay, yeah, they're useless and they're pointless, but they show up and they're this grand, bigger than the show. And like I said, it would have ruined it if they came in and saved the day, but there's almost this element of like, they don't belong here. Why are they here? What are they going to do? How are they useful to him? And that's not a critique against them. That's just, they are not meant to handle this kind of problem. But also the way it was shot felt very much like it was from Peacemaker's point of view. Of like, fucking assholes, like you're late, and it felt like it maintained that kind of Snyder approach of, this is the way they would look through the eyes of these characters in this moment.
I was never involved with them,
and people are comparing it to like the Whedon cut or Whedon, which is like, I understand people, like, you're allowed to not like it. I'm not saying you're required to like it, but it's a fundamental. The Whedon cut has come to be shorthand for like stuff I don't like. Because from a cinematic perspective, the way it treats the characters, they're not and there's more debate about this, obviously, but they're not the butt of a joke. They're not cheaply presented. Whedon made them look cheap and lame and cheesy, whereas Gunn presented them, like I said, in this way that's like grand and bigger than the characters here.
To me, I feel like, okay,
there's silhouettes and there's the moon coming through, and
it was a show of force, and at the same time, solidifying that this individual belongs in the DCU, and it's giving us something that we as DC fans always wanted: a connected universe. So now, okay, I'm giving you this connected universe, even though it's not the way that you want it, but it's still what you
Like I don't get what people would want. Like, dude, if is the only way we could see those characters is if Zach does something. Like, dude, what the fuck?
No, that's not.
Yes, that's the whole point, right? Like, it's like, dude, if I want to see other characters, okay, well then reboot the whole fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not going to see it unless Zach, then guess what? That's not going to fucking happen right now.
Well, but also you talk about how do these characters? You want a universe that allows different director visions to exist, and this is not them bringing in. This is not them bringing in the Justice League into a tone where they don't belong. Like, for example, the whole Aquaman fucking fish joke is a Peacemaker joke, and they don't bring them in and have Aquaman be like, "Oh, I'm a fish fucker." They have Peacemaker make that a thing that he says, because he's this weird internet conspiracy theorist.
He's the joke.
Who reads the stuff. It's making fun of how of him and these stupid internet rumors that he believes, and then Aquaman's reaction to it isn't like, I don't do that, or it was only one time, or whatever. He's just like, I hate these rumors, because what the show establishes is that it's.
And then Barry being Barry, it's just like, they're not rumors, because he's just like busting his friend's
Well, and then people were saying like, oh, they don't make it clear whether or not Barry is joking. It's like, yes, they do. They literally cut to him to make him chuckle after it.
Yeah.
And and by the way, that dynamic, I'm not saying this is like a continuation of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
But we saw it in Justice League.
But that dynamic between the characters is a continuation.
I'm so sorry.
Like, dude,
there you go. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Or the one that I looked at.
Go to you, Barry.
Or go to them before they go into Star Labs. What's better, option A or option B? And he's like, what? Show me A again.
Show me A again.
Like it's very much, and this is like a style of banter and humor that exists between the characters in Zack Snyder's Justice League that doesn't in the Whedon. The Whedon cut is the one that goes for the lame jokes and the bad saturation and the bad framing
sitting
and everything.
on lassos and shit like that. Yeah,
exactly, in a way that cheapens the characters. And this used humor by using Peacemaker's humor, but it reminded me of like The Office, about like how you cut to Jim shrugging or looking at it's like a look at the camera moment, and you can have Michael Scott being a total moron, and it doesn't make Jim look dumber to react to Michael. It actually kind of heightens the way Michael is, and so I think it's the same way that
just look at what Ben tweeted out, right? Like, dude, you have fucking Aquaman talking shit to Barry, like, fuck you, Barry. Like, dude, I was like,
by the way, it was kind of cool seeing him in the Aquaman, like full on Aquaman costume, with Barry
in
the
Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have
now,
basically him getting talking shit about fucking fish, but yet Joker can sit there and talk about a reach around on Batman.
Well, and then
you know
also
I mean?
it's really frustrating to me when you have fans of Zack Snyder who has been subjected to like go back to that, what was that video essay a while back that was like, oh, Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder says that homosexuals caused the zombie outbreak because this pastor character on the TV said it. And literally it's the exact same thing of people saying like, oh, James Gunn is saying that Aquaman fucks fish. And it's like, no, he's not. It's exactly the same thing that ironically James Gunn wrote in Dawn of the Dead, where
and the Joker
character in the universe is saying,
fish stick. Remember how a Joker calls her a fish stick? It's like,
which and that doesn't ruin Mara or ruin the fact that Joker talks about giving Batman a reach around doesn't ruin Batman because it's Joker delivering the line.
It is the Joker.
If they had Batman being like, oh, I don't want to reach around, or like, for example, I don't not like
want to reach around,
right? Which somebody edit that now, please.
I know, right?
I want to give you a reach around. I don't not. Everybody stop and let's put that together now. Garza,
we're bringing in Ray right here.
Well, hold on. Let me can I just say this one thing real quick?
That's a great time to get great entrance. Love that.
I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm not trying to talk shit to you, Carrie. Okay, but you are the personification of what me and a lot of my co-workers, co-fans are talking about. You haven't seen the show. You just fast forwarded to that one fucking scene, and guess what? You didn't like it. You thought it was out of place, and that it felt like, it's just, hey, look, we're connected. No, if you watch the entire fucking series like you were supposed to, guess what?
Understand.
The reveal, you would have been mind blown just like I was. And I'm a huge DC fan. I was there was no fucking way that I thought Justice League, any of members of the Justice League were about to show up. Like I called Ben fucking crazy. I was like, Superman, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, why?
Yeah, why would Superman show up in a James Gunn movie about Suicide Squad characters, Garza? Yeah. Why would anybody ever expect that to happen? That's crazy.
And that's what I told him. I said, after that fucking time, I went, nope, he's not going to do it anymore, dude. I'm sorry.
Dude, you made trailers more than anyone. And
I know, but
obviously, even you would feel bad if they got disrespected, right?
I think something about like the cinematic language and storytelling and stuff also that is really, once again, that's really, really weird when you're contrasting this against Zack Snyder is you have like, people seem to react to James Gunn's humor, and I'll say this as someone who like really didn't like Suicide Squad, didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 for a lot of these reasons. But when you have like Peacemaker talking about Aquaman fucking fish, or you have the fart jokes and all the dick jokes and whatever, there's an immature element of that is like sort of James Gunn humor. But I think people think that you're supposed to be laughing at the dick joke, which maybe there's a little bit of that in there, but like the dick jokes that are in the show are not for you to say, haha, dick jokes are funny. It's about saying Peacemaker is somebody who thinks dick jokes are funny. And that's a core part of, he's hiding behind this immature humor. He's masking his trauma and his pain behind this like flippant, offensive, trying to push people away with gross out jokes and stuff like that. Trying to shut down Adebayo from apologizing to him by making fart noises, and that's a character decision, not a everybody laugh joke. Right. It's pretty funny. And the reason you know that is because what Gunn always does in his movies, and it's not all the characters. He always chooses a couple characters that mask their internal pain behind this kind of immature persona, whether it be Guardians of the Galaxy and you have Peter Quill. But then you also have like the straight, like Rocket is pretty straight for the most part in that movie. And then you get to the point eventually where that guard drops and you have, Chris Pratt says like, we're losers, we're people who have lost stuff. And like, it's time for us to give a shit for once. And it's that moment, it provides them the opportunity.
The dyed beard part.
The dyed beard is my favorite scene of the whole movie. Or for example, the way the show brought home the Peacemaker, what a joke thing.
Right.
Literally, what a joke. emphasizing the like you have this entire persona constructed around this idea that you're maintaining peace, but it's a facade, and that turns out that that line in Suicide Squad ended up being so core to his character arc in Peacemaker, and like the dick jokes and whatever. I'm not like, just because it's part of the character doesn't mean that it's easy to swallow or inherently funny or whatever. Pun intended with swallowing dick jokes, but but it's such a I don't know if it's a bad faith or like a lack of, but like it reminds me, it's just weird because it reminds me so much of that criticism against Zack Snyder of, oh, Dawn of the Dead blames the zombie outbreak on Muslims and homosexuals, or oh, Superman is portrayed as a god character, and it's like, no, this is the characters in the universe doing this as character and story driven narrative devices, not as it's not as a narrative insert from the creator. And it makes it I only have two choices at that point, that it's either bad faith criticisms or it's just a double standard from people that aren't applying the same level of rhetorical analysis to what Snyder is doing and what Gunn is doing. And you get it from both directions, because Snyder obviously is subject to all of that, but then on the flip side, you get people assuming that Gunn isn't capable of that, when ironically many of those criticisms that are leveled at Snyder originated with Dawn of the Dead, which Gunn wrote. So it's just this weird level of like, let's assume that there's narrative purpose behind this stuff. And like, you look at Justice League and they've got the anal probing from the aliens, and they've got all, the sitting on the lasso, and you've got those jokes in that those don't service the plot. Those break character, those break story, they break tone for the sake of humor. That's a problem. They don't add, it doesn't make Lois Lane deeper. Lois Lane's not hiding pain behind talking about being thirsty, or Martha, or whoever even says that line. But these do all service it. And once again, because you don't have Amanda Waller making dick jokes, you don't have by
the way, Amanda Waller showing up in the third, the final episode again. I was like, dude, somebody's got to come up.
That's
like
cool.
But I think that's a very clear distinction that needs to be made, that it's not like all the characters are, it's not like Family Guy where everybody is just like spouting these jokes all the time. You have one or two characters who do it, and it's used as a narrative storytelling device. And it's just so, I don't know.
Much. No.
Yeah.
No, before we continue, ACS, you got to take off, right?
Yeah, man, I got to bounce.
No, you got a full house going on right there. We can hang out.
Yo. This is fucking 5 nieces running the hallways here.
Bro, hey, what time is it over there? Shouldn't they be asleep, bro? Like, come on, man.
Yo, it's
Friday
night. It's Friday night.
It's still 11:30. Well, how old are they? They're 5? Like, what is it, bro?
Between 5 and like 9. They just
it's bedtime, bro. It's 11:30.
And my wife is also
calm your ass down.
My wife's she's an enabler, so she's just like, yo, what do y'all want to do? Y'all want to make some shirts? So she just it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, man. I appreciate it.
Y'all, peace out, y'all.
All right, take it easy, ACS. Follow them. All that stuff.
I will say that as an addendum to that quick rant, and then I'm going to let some other people talk for a long time. But the other thing,
you're not, but that's okay.
When it comes to Gunn, if you've watched like Super, I think is a great example, but it's consistent in his work where he has these characters that are kind of presented this way, and it's always to set up eventually it reaches this crescendo of, let's drop the facade, let's reveal this character. It's the diebeard moment, right? Where you're like, oh,
but he even had that with hardcore too. Like,
there's a reason for this. This is not a haha, this is funny shtick. This all existed for a narrative, in-universe narrative purpose. And I think part of why I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or the Suicide Squad as much is because Gunn, for better or worse, really relies on that, like, lulling you with getting you to think that it's just stupid dick jokes, and then kind of drops the like, he's hiding pain with dick jokes.
Yeah.
Well, real quick before I'm gonna believe me, I'm going to let you, Ray, talk. But I just wanted to say on Wednesday, me and Ben were talking about this because, when we saw, John Cena or Peacemaker have to kill his dad, that emotion, and that was brilliant acting. But also you had Vigilante basically trying to make jokes or trying to like bring that mode up, and he just go like it was purposely
it suddenly becomes, while the show leans into that so much, all of a sudden that exact same let's make a joke in this moment is jarringly out of place, intentionally so, where it's like, oh no, this is not the tone of the show. That's what reveals to you. This is not the tone of the show. This is a tone of a character, and this character is now out of place in the narrative.
And I was telling Ben, I was like, dude, that's probably how it would have been in Guardians 2, whenever he, Quill has to fight his dad or whatever, and he's got to end it. But, he couldn't really get to that point because, there's a level of, you're seeing how fucking horrible, his dad is. And yet this man is still bawling that he had to take out his father, yet he knows what his father did to him and how horrible of a person his father is. You know what I mean? Like that's for you to like portray that in emotional, like I was like, God damn, dude. Like,
well, and that's why
you don't even pay attention to because sometimes like even the dialogue tells you it's deeper than what you think it is. Because when he killed his father said, "You can kill me," and all of a sudden he shows up. He had one of those visions with his father, so it means that he's gonna remain with him throughout this entire journey. You cannot kill him. What's so deeply rooted right inside of you. And that's what he was trying to convey on that little message. So even those little throwaway things that you don't think it means anything, he was deeply he deeply thought about that little process. Even with a beer joke, like you're thinking, okay, it's a fucking beer joke, but it paid off so fucking beautifully in the last episode. So it's not like there's a lot of stupid jokes. Some of them they don't even land with me. But
and once again, the whole dyebeard thing is not presented as inherently comedic, where like the dyebeard isn't even a thing I noticed until Peacemaker started pointing it out. It's not like they make the character a clown. It's just a thing that he gives him shit over nonstop. And once again, it's Peacemaker making the joke, not the camera making the joke. There's no winking at the audience. It's an in-universe. Peacemaker's just giving him shit over it.
Like, oh, look at his beard, it's dyed. No, it just gets pointed out by Peacemaker because he's just that guy.
I was gonna say, and so that's why with like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I think what didn't work was that he had already used that twist in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. All of his characters that had that twist of, oh, it turns out these people have lost things, and you can't drop that facade a second time. And so you get to Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and the only characters that you have left to do that with are like Kraglin and Yondu, who just don't have as much to offer when you try to do that same twist. A, because they're not main characters, but also because they were presented as kind of side, more humorous characters in the first place. And then also with Drax, you really get that drop with him also in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and then in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the only story left for him is the story of revenge for his family, which I don't know if this was intentional or what or not, but there was no longer Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Drax should have been about the fact that he no longer had some
Grudge.
Thanos, not Thanos, who's Ronan.
Ronan. Wow.
There should have been a moment of Ronan's gone. I no longer have, ironically, Ronan, like the warrior without a cause. Like that's what Drax's arc should have been in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but because he was deprived of that, and Gunn couldn't set up a Drax versus Thanos new dynamic in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, because that wasn't in the cards for him in Avengers Infinity War or Endgame, but just kind of taken out of Gunn's hands. Whether or not he would have done that, I don't know. And so as a result, you've got all these characters that it's like, okay, we've set them up as this certain way, and now there's no longer, we can't, like, what do you do with Drax at that point? I think that the mistake was not making it about how do I deal with the fact that I can't, I don't have a mission anymore. And that would have been really compelling for that character. But in lieu of having that dropping the facade kind of twist that Gunn does, all you have left is like, okay, I guess all that's left is the comedic relief now. And then in the Suicide Squad, you just had too many characters, Like the Peacemaker stuff really, I think, had opportunity, and like the Peacemaker, what a joke setup and everything in the Suicide Squad is like the most compelling stuff. But there's just so many characters in there that by the time you get to the like, oh, it turns out Ratcatcher is really tragic, and oh, it turns out Peacemaker is torn about this stuff, and you get to those moments, it's like, okay, there's so much Harley Quinn who you can't do that with, right? You can't have this like, oh, it turns out Harley Quinn isn't like, there's just not as much, you can't do that with that character in the same way, and so you just end up
Not
with
after
this
2
like
movies.
you're juggling too much with too much writing on these characters to the point where like he almost should have killed off more characters or given less focus to some of them so that he had room to kind of lean into that Ratcatcher moment, for example. But instead, it's like, oh, we're just going to do this quick expositional explanation in the reflection of the bus and then move on. And we're going to show Taika on top of a tower. How did he get up there? I don't know.
I did not like that.
I did, but okay.
James Gunn, does he have daddy issues? Because most of his stuff revolves around fathers.
His dad died a few years ago, and he talked about I think he had a strained relationship because his dad like got him into comics and stuff like that, but also I think was a narcissist or something. So there's that, you know, that love-hate, like, like how do you I've been listening to a lot of Eminem recently, so this is but that like how do you like throw the baby out with the bathwater, like you are who you are, like Gunn is who he is as a creative because of like family stuff.
Yeah, well, it's like comedians always talk about that all the time. It's like there's a lot of people that just are like effed up, and that's what created their, you know, their shtick, I guess you could say. But Ray, before we get more into Peacemaker stuff, since you joined a little late, first off, top 3 Batsuits, go.
Top 3 Batsuits.
And don't worry, we resolved the Nightmare suit is most certainly counts as its own suit.
Oh, right. Okay.
So,
all right.
If you
all right. Well, I guess let's see, top 3, like in order, or does it matter?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, or 3, 2, 1, whatever you want to do.
1 is probably the BVS Batfleck suit.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
I love the just the gray and like the cloth like look. And then I would probably say specifically the Batman Begins Bale suit. I like that suit better than the suit that they switched him to, even though he could move his head in the sequels. Like that was just a really like awesome, like elemental, like scary looking suit. And then probably Keaton.
It was almost like he lost like 30 pounds getting into the Dark Knight suit.
Right. It slimmed him down, and I get like they explained it, like the practical reasons.
It
like
makes
as far
sense.
as like, it totally makes sense. But no, I like the Begins one better, and then Keaton's probably from the first movie. Even though I like the Return suit, but it, like in the first movie, like he looks like he looks like a big fucking bat. Like there are times when Burton like moved the camera and like changed the lighting where it's like, okay, this dude, like from a distance, you don't know if he's actually a bat or if he's just wearing a suit. Like he made Keaton look scary at certain points in the movie, and so I just really like the elemental style of that suit.
Yeah,
so
we're pretty much on the same page when it comes to that.
Yeah. So
Cool.
Those are my 3.
Okay.
But I know some people here. I mean, we'll get a better look at this in a couple of weeks. But I do like Batflex, or I do like a Battinson suit, and I don't have an issue with the cowl. Everybody seems to hate the cowl.
I have a huge issue with the cowl.
I don't hate.
Yeah,
the
you
cowl.
do, right, Ben?
Yeah, I do. It looks like cardboard stitched together.
Well, that's what I kind of like. That's what I kind of like about it. It's homemade. Like it's a little like the.
It doesn't look corporate.
The imperfections.
right. Because this is year 2 Batman. I'm like, okay, yeah, a lot of your stuff should still be kind of homemade. You haven't like got Wayne Enterprises totally on the case yet for all of it.
I mean, as a whole, the suit looks legit. It's just something about the cow ears. I don't know. The
ears are more pushed back, and Well, I think just go back to when Matt Reeves was teasing all this, and he was, talking about the 66 Batman. It's almost like that. I mean, when you look at that cowl And you look at this guy, it's like, it's like a homemade version of that, but a little different because the nose looks almost the same to me as that Adam West cow nose.
It's like flatter. It's not pointed.
Yeah, it's
right,
flat
yeah.
and
One thing I like about the new cow is the eye sockets. They're a whole lot bigger, and it's true what Zach said, that you emote through your eyes, and you can see anger or even disbelief or even in some fear in his eyes while he's using the cow.
Well, and I think because they're not afraid of, they're not shying away from the fact that this is a thing that this guy made. And it's always a weird thing, especially with superhero suits, where like I think Daredevil did a pretty good job of establishing this, but it's often there's a lack of like explanation of how any particular hero gets from like even Spider-Man's suit. It's like, sure, the lore says that he like sewed it, but like, is he that great of a seamstress?
Yeah,
Where do you get the material?
And so there's an element of like the eye makeup, I think, is a big thing there. And the fact that like they're not afraid of the fact that they're willing to openly acknowledge that the eye makeup is a part of the suit, it frees them up. They don't have the need to make the eyes as tight because they're not hiding the fact that he's wearing makeup in the first place.
When I saw that in the very first trailer from the very first Fandom, like the last shot of him, and he had the eye makeup on, and I'm like, finally, you're not hiding it. We have a shot of him cowl off, eye makeup on, because there's a shot in Returns, like at the very end of Returns.
We know that shot.
And, right,
but also it's also in BVS. Like, dude, the armor gets ripped off, and all of a sudden he gets in his plane, and it's like, oh, okay, your suit. Now you're
there's like 3 shots in BVS where it's like,
one when he took over the cow, one when his cow was
the nightmare when Superman rips off the cow, and all of a sudden it's just like Bruce with like whipping his hair back and no eye makeup. And
he did a better editing job though.
Well,
that's the thing, though. And I still wonder about that editing job in Returns. I'm like, why did you show it? Like, just there was
it's so blatant.
Like, start from here with you don't see the eyes.
Yeah. When he starts pulling his,
it's like Power Rangers did it all the time. How is it that
just thinking
nobody's gonna notice?
But like, just fucking white eyes. Like, dude, bro, really? Like,
well, but I think that's what, because when you're trying to use the production aesthetic to pretend that Batman isn't wearing eye makeup under the costume, it requires you to like come in closer on the eyes. Or like, for example, if you're going to make something out of like real material, Batman Begins explained it with like them ordering all of these parts and bulk from other places, and so you could order it as like this sort of helmet thing. But if you're going to put something together like that, if it's leather or whatever, not only is it going to have seams, but also you cut like patterns out of that, and that determines the way it fits to your head. I mean, if you look at your shoes and the way you've got sheets of different shaped fabric, or any piece of clothing, or a hat, I've got like a five panels on this, and the way that it's able to have a domed top is because these are like 5 triangle shapes that come together in the point, but because of that you have the seams. You can't make this hat with no seams because the fabric just doesn't, unless it's like a woven single, like a knit, right? And so it's not just that it's homemade, but it's an acknowledgement of that this is like real materials, that if somebody were to actually make something like this, it would have seams in it. And the seams also influence,
because I don't know how the in Batman Begins or in The Dark Knight or whatever, how like, okay, if you're ordering this section and you're ordering the ears, okay, well, but I don't ever see like the ears being separate sections from that
right. Well, because
there was a part in Batman Begins where he was like putting
he put the receiver in the ear, right? But you don't see the assembly, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
you don't
because
see
the cow they even say it, that we're gonna get the cow from something else in China or something. Right. Get the earpiece from somewhere else. It's like, well,
and those movies, and this is not a dig at Nolan because he does a good job at it, but it's classic Nolan exposition of this isn't necessary. This is just to. It's like you'd have Lucius Fox being like, "Oh, it's a nanofiber carbon filament thing, and then like they're like, well, it's explained, so now we can
memory cloth. What? Okay.
Yeah, and so
Right.
really, it's not supposed
cool.
it's not supposed to make sense in a way that like, the more you explain that, the less sense it makes. But so Nolan was just establishing like, these are different parts from.
That's Ergo Tenet. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
No, but before we have Ben's got to go.
Yeah, get out of here, Ben.
Yeah, get out of here, Ben. We don't need you in this.
Please. And by the way,
thank you for joining.
Nightmare suit is not a real suit.
Yeah.
All right, Ben. Thanks for joining, man.
All right,
Bye,
See you
guys.
soon. All right, see ya. Okay.
I mean,
continue.
What does he mean nightmare suit? I thought. Why is he using?
How did he say nightmare suit?
Why is he describing it with a different name?
That's weird. He just said the BVS suit, right?
Yeah, the BVS suit with a trench coat, right?
The BVS suit in the nightmare timeline.
It has a different name, so therefore,
it's a different suit. It is. It is. It's a different suit.
Okay.
But no, it's crazy. Ben and I have agreed on like the most we've ever agreed
Same
like this
suit
week
with accessories.
Yeah. But okay, so I have a bit of like going back to what you guys were talking about when I came in. I have a story. I have a bit of a story about how this all transpired for me. So Thursday morning, I was still like 4 episodes behind. Like
Peacemaker. Holy shit.
But I had already made the decision. I was like, okay, look, I can't touch Twitter until I've seen this, because there was too much. Like people were saying too much over the last day or two, and I was like, okay, no, they're building this up. Whatever it is.
I was literally tagged in the spoiler. I was like, dude, really? Yeah. I'm glad I didn't look at Twitter before you tagged me in it.
Dude, it's fucking ridiculous. Seriously, like it's gotten so bad. Just briefly aside, like when you have GIFs and like clips like hours after the episode drops, that's a fucking problem. But at any rate, so I was like, okay, no, I'm not gonna touch Twitter until I binge through all this. At 9 a.m, I had an email and 2 different direct messages from mutuals on Twitter, and they all said the same thing. Ray, you might want to stay off Twitter today. And I was like, oh shit. So now my brain is like, okay, all right, let's all right. I don't know what happened, but let's see what happens. And so I get through episodes 5 through 7. I get to episode 8, and there's that point where Adebayo calls Waller and was like, can you call the Justice League? And I was like, okay, all right, let's see what happens. I'm preparing for the worst. Like my paranoid nerd mind is thinking worst case scenario, like, oh my God, Joe Morton is Silas Stone alive, and now Justice League is canon. Like I was thinking that was the worst case scenario in my head. I prepared myself like
horrible. Jeez.
That would have been awful, God. Fucking terrible. Yes.
Yeah.
So because I had built that up, like that anticipation up, when the joke happened, I literally went, is that it? I was relieved. I was literally relieved. I was like, oh,
you built it up so freaking like you thought it was going to be full on justice. You're going to see Henry Cavill with his fucked up face and shit like that. You were just like going, you thought that's actually good.
Right. Well, or like, and even like I love the fact that Superman is like completely in the dark, so you can't even really tell what color costume he's wearing. Like, is he wearing the black suit or is he wearing the regular red suit? You don't really know. Like, even that was hidden. And I guess there was a picture on Instagram, the body double for Wonder Woman. I guess she was wearing. Looks like she was wearing the BVS suit.
Oh yeah,
the one that she wore in BVS.
That's in Garza Spank Bank. Yeah,
absolutely.
She's bad.
Well,
I think the funniest thing about the whole discourse is the fact that, not that it's not, when I say disposable, I don't mean that it doesn't belong, but it could have, and what I appreciate about it actually is that if you had removed it from the episode, it would not have altered any of my favorite things about the episode. All of the emotional arcs and the culmination of the story points, none of them rest on the appearance of the Justice League. It's a cool Easter egg, and it's a cool cameo, and it fits with an ongoing joke, and it pays off some other stuff going on. But also, Diebeard still works, and all of those moments where you're like, oh, this is getting to what these characters mean and matter. It doesn't upstage or or take away from any of those. And so it's just funny that it's being leveraged as there's some people that are like, this is the first time I've actually liked these characters on screen, where it's like, what are you talking, like 5 seconds in a James Gunn TV show is like, oh, finally the Justice League is saved. It's like, no, that's ridiculous. But it's equally as ridiculous to be like, this ruined the Justice League. It's like, no, it didn't. It was consistent, but also it was little enough to not matter.
One of the things that is really like pissing me off with this whole discourse is neither side will acknowledge that that they are toxic.
Right.
Like everyone's like, oh, like everyone keeps pulling out, like cherry picking receipts from the other side saying, and we're the toxic ones. Yes, you fucking are. You both are. You're both toxic.
Bro, you don't realize how many people I've muted on Twitter. Like, believe me, there's so many people that I follow that follow me, and I won't out of respect unfollow them.
Yeah.
But I will block their ass because I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, dude, if you want to sit there and all day just talk shit about DC and all that, it blows my mind. Because in my head, I'm like, why the fuck do you care that much? Like, you should. If I didn't like something, you would not see me sitting there talking shit about it all day on Twitter.
24 fucking.
Why the fuck do I need to? I don't. If I don't like it, I don't like it, dude.
Well, but you don't. If I asked you what makes you feel important as a person, would you say would you list the attention you get on Twitter from your comic book movie opinions anywhere in the top 50 things about yourself that you care about?
Absolutely not.
No.
So
I know. And so much of what they're doing is like the same shit that we dealt with from the other side 6 years ago.
I know.
When BVS came out. That's what I'm getting fucking tired of tweeting that Two-Face gets.
Harvey Dent.
I'm gonna keep fucking tweeting it every time I see it, because seriously, it's like you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. They don't even see that they've become the villain now. They don't see that.
Right. Like, it'd be one thing if they were like, yeah, no, I am toxic. I'd be like, yeah, well, thanks for admitting it. At least you're admitting it. Like, dude, that's all I care about. Because like for me,
well, I think part of the problem also is that they go ahead. What? Well, I was going to interrupt again, and I'm tired of doing that.
Yeah, I know. It's all right. I was talk shit. Like,
that was a moment right there.
Let me go ahead and pretend that I didn't like Peacemaker, the show, which I've gone on record since 2018 when it first came out that James Gunn was going to be directing a Suicide Squad film. I said, you know what? The shit that I saw that he was tweeting back when he said he didn't know how to work Twitter. Hey, dude, you know what? I said it then. I said, if I see anything come out again, or if I hear anything about, yeah, you know what? They looked into it. Things happened. Somebody's accusing him. Then you know what? Fuck that dude. He's on my shit list forever. But he apologized. He said, you know, whatever he said, and nothing has happened since then. He is on point. Like, they're paying attention to him. So it's not like he could fuck up once, and he hasn't fucked up once, which I commend the dude. I mean, great for him not fucking up, but like at a certain point, you got to go, all right, well, this is who is making a DC show. I'm a DC fan. Well, I don't know shit about Peacemaker. And if I'm sitting there willing to spend 8 hours of my life watching something, I'm not going to sit there and just talk shit about it every fucking week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of people kind of went like, why Peacemaker? Why Peacemaker? Why not Bloodsport? Why not Ratcatcher? And he actually explained it too. Something like that. He was like, hey, those guys had their hero moments. Peacemaker did not. Peacemaker turned out to be a villain in the Suicide Squad. Full on, he killed Rick Flag, which totally is like in this series where he feels fucking guilty.
Not only that, but the nature of his decision at the end of this is full circle from why he killed Rick Flag. It's the let people decide for themselves. What he killed Peacemaker over was to hide the government actions from the people, which was depriving them of the opportunity to know and decide for themselves. It was because what the butterflies were asking him to do was to do exactly what he had done for Amanda Waller, which he has been bearing. The Peacemaker, what a joke, isn't just about the turmoil of killing Rick Flag. It's about the moral implications of letting people be free to decide how to live their life.
Right.
which is interesting because it's like what, like I would not have expected that from this character watching the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have thought that.
And then when you even watch the episode, you kind of go like, he almost goes, "Did I make the right decision?" I mean, like he doesn't even know if he made the right decision.
Right. Well, because there's, I mean, and that was, I actually really like the kind of twist there at the end where it's like, oh, of course they're doing this for benevolent. It's not that they're just trying to control the world. It's literally that they're walking a road to hell paved with good intentions. Right. They want to save the planet. They just want to rob.
Over.
Right. They just want to rob everybody's.
Well, you know what? Zod wanted to save his people, but it just meant that everybody on Earth was going to fucking die. So it's like, I mean, he had good intentions for his people, but that fucked us over. Unfortunately,
one brief thing, Garza, to add to what you were saying about Gunn personally. The other thing that also has been in his corner, not only in terms of him having a clean record, is also there's been people that have come in that are in his corner. That whole shit that happened that it really led to him getting rehired by Marvel when like Bautista and Pratt and Zoe Saldana, everybody signed that letter.
And these are all people who themselves, I know people always go after Chris Pratt, so I guess whatever, you're going to pick sides on that. Right. But these are all people who themselves have seemingly reliable closets of like,
for now.
That we know of. I mean, you never want to say that, like, but yeah, I mean, it's not like his, and now, if he's going to be accused of something or somebody's going to come out and there's more new stuff that like we don't know yet that comes out, then sure. But based on what's out there,
well, no, it's been fucking 4 years,
right?
Well, and I think a lot of Gen Zers also have no idea the kind of shit millennials were doing in the 90s or millennials and older. I mean, the parties that we were going to and the Halloween costumes we were, and this is not supporting it. This is just talking about like a frog.
We would say to our friends, like, believe me.
I mean, like I said, I've been on this Eminem kick. You look at anything in his music. I mean, you look at what he said about Michael Jackson, or the what he said about what he wanted to do to Kim, or
he talks shit about Christopher Reeves.
One of the because as soon as because once the joke happened and I was like, okay, cool, I'm good with this. Then I started thinking, okay, before I sign on Twitter, I'm like, okay, let me think of all the scenarios why people are pissed off. And sure enough, one of the scenarios was what you're talking about, Steven, the Gen Zers. They keep a lot of them that don't like James Gunn comparing him to Joss Whedon, and that's a fucking irresponsible comparison on so many levels.
Also, you also have him basically getting called out by Ray Fisher, rightfully so, about, oh, well, you like this tweet about, Josh Whedon or whatever. And what did he do? He came out and said, yeah, that was my fault. I didn't
10 minutes later, he responded.
I unliked it. My fault, Ray Fisher. Right. He tagged him. He replied to him. He didn't have to do that at all, period. He didn't have to do it. He didn't have to explain any of that, but he did.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of things where it's like, nothing else has come to light of, oh, but that's James Gunn. Like, dude, you know what? He said some stupid shit, and I can't be like, yeah, well, he's an idiot, and up till this 2022, he's still a fucking idiot for doing that back then. Like, dude, if I fucking judge people that changed, like, dude, how can I feel like?
And look at what happened with Whedon. Also, was he had people in his corner forever defending him as a male feminist and the liberal ideal and a progressive icon and whatever, and then when the dam broke. It broke. Like when Ray Fisher started coming out and saying like and I mean Kai Cole came out before him even, but when people finally started coming out, everyone suddenly was like, oh yeah, we've been
Charisma Carpenter,
like and people totally went. This is not just like people who, I mean, it's all people who have bones to pick, but it's people who have had close relationships with him for decades. And then you look at what happened with James Gunn. And the tweets
actors came out and signed something.
The tweets were offensive. They were in poor taste even at the time.
Horrible. Yeah.
But was it bad jokes or was it bad behavior? Well, there was no the nature of it. It was a hit job by nature, where it was old offensive stuff that he had said and done that was dug up as a. I mean, it's basically QAnon is the people.
No, it was the same because when he was on Twitter previously before all this happened and he came back, he was extremely political. Like it was a
politically motivated hit job by I never know like the alt-right or whatever.
I know the guy's name.
And,
I'm not going to say it, but I know his name.
But the point is that there was bad faith. It was being brought up for other reasons,
right?
Which that doesn't mean that like
it doesn't mean he was right to do it.
It doesn't make it was right. But the point is, it wasn't the result of the dam breaking and the people who have been silent, or even Bryan Singer, who actually has done this stuff. People are accusing him, and you keep on people. Every couple of months, you have another person that comes out to make accusations and to detail their story, and I am fully willing. Like, I'm not going to be standing there defending him if there's any actual persistent stuff like that. But so far, the only stuff that's out there is stuff that at the time was a part of a subversive counterculture of offensive jokes. He was part of Trauma, big with all the Trauma movies at the time, and was very much in that kind of edgy scene. He was a punk rock guy, and so of course he's got you look at someone like Marilyn Manson or something like that, and you want to go dig up all the stuff that they've said in their songs or stuff that they've and Marilyn Manson has actually done fucked up shit.
He's got people some of that shit. Yeah, Evan Rachel Wood's coming out and blasting him. Nobody's come out and blasted James Gunn. The only thing that came out against James Gunn was his tweets.
His tweets, and then like look who he's with now. He's with Harcourt. Oh my god,
dude.
Anyways, we got Enosh. We got Enosh joining. Hey, you're here.
What's up?
What's going on, man?
How's it going?
Sorry, you were like backstage when we were like really getting into this whole thing. So apologize. But
no, you're
chomping at the bit to weigh in on James Gunn and pedophiles. So you have the floor.
No. If anything, you have the floor.
Thanks for inviting me on.
I know.
Like, something else I had to do. Thanks, appreciate that.
No, I think
I will say this though.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
The gun, including the Justice League. That was a baller move. Like, no bullshit. That was hey, look, I know that I'm not doing it for that reason other than I can do it. So here we go.
Well, and I think what's frustrating about it also too is that I'm sure I don't want to dismiss people's valid dislike of something if it's just like not their thing. Sure. So this isn't to say that like you're just not allowed, like you're required to like this or anything, but there's a lot of stuff against that levied against this that is consistent enough and slanted enough that it's hard to read as anything other than being motivated by a perception that painting all the new stuff as bad will give the Snyder stuff the best chance of coming back.
Yep.
Which I understand, but if you want to, if you are, I'll give some advice here. Maybe
if you are a 12-year-old looking at adult situations and trying to come up with solutions.
Yeah. If you are motivated by setting a narrative, if you are motivated by how you can use circumstances to further an agenda, which I will say that like you lose credibility eventually when you do that. The best thing you can do is just have integrity and be consistent and even-handed with the way you treat everything, whether it's Snyder or Gunn. But if you're going to define yourself by pushing a narrative, you are going to have more success with a situation like this with saying, look at how the characters that Zach created drive more hype in 5 seconds than anything else. Why have we not had these characters? Why is this 5-second clip the only time we've seen these characters?
It was the biggest, like it was like the highest view,
biggest drop,
right? The biggest, like of all the episodes, like,
and it doesn't even matter for the episode. It could have been cut from the episode, and nobody would be like, it was missing something.
It didn't affect it
at
all.
And it drove so much hype and discussion, and people who would be traditionally like not liking the Snyder interpretation were saying they loved it, and it just shows more of these characters. And once again, like I said, the characters, they don't retcon the Snyder stuff. They don't. It's not a slap in the face to it. Like they don't have Aquaman making the joke. They have Aquaman reacting to how absurd the joke is.
And then you have Barry making the joke because that's what Barry does.
I'm a little tired too. I'm a little tired because look, this week is obviously for any of us who are doing any of this kind of stuff. Like we've been in these discussions, and I just look at it like this. First of all, I have plenty of friends or people I've streamed with or whatever who are doing like these long interpretations about how this sucks. This is ruining everything. DC is in a horrible spot, and they haven't even watched Peacemaker.
I know.
What the fuck?
Right?
Exactly.
Right? And I'm sorry, I can defend a lot of stuff, but you know what?
Yeah.
No, you know what? That's BS. Don't tell me this joke is absolutely disrespectful to Zack Snyder.
And the
when
problem,
you didn't watch the whole setup of what the joke
You didn't even
was.
watch the first fucking
You didn't
episode.
watch the
It's
episode
set up
to
there.
understand
The
that
joke has been going on
Peacemaker is so insecure in himself that he attacks all these other heroes because he knows that he can't be that way. So he says these BS things about them all the way through, only for it to come at the end where they can where the main team can joke with themselves. I heard somebody go, Barry wouldn't have that discourse with Arthur, and Arthur wouldn't tell him to F off. And I'm like,
so that's
what?
somebody that didn't watch Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Exactly.
That's what that is.
They didn't see them fight a fucking
I'm
demon.
like seriously watching people like literally pile crap on top of crap just to try to somehow make a narrative that they know something or that they just don't like this because, again, like Steven said, it's somehow that we have to say that this is bad, right?
Well,
and to make the other things right.
What happens too is
and
the people that you need to convince are not the people who agree with you; they're the people that disagree with you. So, if your objective is for your opinion to be taken seriously, saying that a 5-second clip that is fairly unimpactful in Peacemaker ruins all of this stuff. It's not just about this because nobody cares. Nobody cares about this. What you're doing is you are labeling yourself as somebody who is driven by a political motivation and narrative, as opposed to somebody who actually has a good opinion. And then when something down the road happens, let's say Joss Whedon comes back. That's not going to happen. It's a bad example because everybody hates him anyway. But like, let's say they do something that legitimately undermines these characters, and you say it's the boy who cried wolf, and you're gonna be like, this ruins the characters. People are gonna be like, but you said that about everything.
Well, that's what I've been saying all week long.
This is the question that you'd have to ask yourself, right? And anybody that wanted to argue, oh well, this did that, this did that. Okay, well, guess what? In this scenario, would you say that there is a possibility? It could be 1%, it could be 100%. It doesn't matter. There's any sort of percent that Zack Snyder and his story or his characters could potentially continue had they had shown a different Aquaman and a different Flash. Would like if we had seen different interpretations of those characters, could you honestly say that Zack's world could potentially be continuing after Peacemaker?
No.
Yeah.
No, it makes no difference.
Or not. I'd say would the odds feel stronger or weaker? I'd say they feel weaker.
And the reason why I say that is because Peacemaker was in Suicide Squad, who had Harley Quinn, who was facing Ben Affleck's Batman, right? And they are all that is connected universe. So if you all of a sudden in this show have a different Aquaman and a different Flash doing the same bit, that canon is now thrown out the window. That doesn't make sense anymore.
And also, what everybody here wants is they want the studio to respect them as a fan base and to desire to give them the kind of content that they want. But if like, for example, Peacemaker is like the biggest streaming show right now. And if you're gonna like take a stand against it as like this thing that you don't want, all you're doing is spreading a narrative that the minority of fans will not be satisfied by this. And like for example, look at Aquaman making $1 billion and Jason Momoa supporting the Snyder Cut all the way through it. Sure, you could have your quips with like, or your qualms with Aquaman is a different tone, and maybe Mara's family history is not consistent with the Snyder Cut, and
her accent.
Yeah, exactly, and say like, oh, it's a betrayal of Zack, but the bottom line is it was very, very strongly received, and the Star was very supportive of Zack throughout it, and quite a few of the fans of it were supportive of it. Coming out and saying, now I'm not saying that like you need to, if you don't like it, don't pretend you do like it.
Yeah.
But but coming out against the only $1 billion hit they've had in the DCEU as not the direction they should take, what you were telling the studio is, we are demanding that you take the less financially lucrative option, and we want you to want to please our desires.
This idea of Aquaman, though, this idea of Aquaman, and like that, somehow the effing fish, somehow demeans him or whatever. It takes us back, right? It undoes everything that Zack did to bring Aquaman to Here's the thing. Jason Momoa is a very confident dude. Okay. Jason Momoa took something that Zack gave him as casting him as Aquaman and made it into something respectful. Like if we're talking 10 years ago, yeah, you know what? All those jokes are relevant even. Like they mean something because honestly, yeah, I know some Aquaman fans going to be like, I've been reading Aquaman since 1960 something. And
just like all the Iron Man
but
fans
the reality is the majority of us have
2008.
been laughing at Aquaman and the jokes and everything. But what I loved was that article that like Jason Momoa says they said that Jason Momoa heard it and was like, yeah, that's funny. Because you know what? Jason Momoa is freaking confident in himself that he knows that some stupid joke that really doesn't even mean anything because it's a throwaway joke from a character that is insecure in himself and he's just trying to, make up for other things. So he knows that doesn't mean anything. It's not going to deter Aquaman. It's not going to. It didn't ruin Aquaman.
And also look at the characters.
Hold on, Ray. Ray's got been.
Go, Ray. Go, Ray.
I'm gonna start shouting in a second. But
you took too long, man. What I was saying was,
when he made the joke, it sounded natural. It sounded like what It sounded like how Momoa would say it, and it sounded like how he would say it as the character. And going to what Steven was saying in terms of the business aspect of this, that's the other part of this. Like, there's so many narratives that like ignore the business aspect of exactly how that whole scene came together. Because what are some here? Let's just go ahead and dive into some of the other shit that was coming out of this. Well, it's such a downgrade because it's only 4 of them, and even out of the 4 of
Batman,
them, right, no Batman, no Cyborg. So clearly James Gunn is racist
or Martian Manhunter
because he's a racing cyborg out of the entire DCEU, and it's like,
if they showed a shadow of Cyborg,
but like the
they didn't piss.
That's the
other thing. Twitter servers would have been able to handle it.
But then like the other part of it, like the fact that the only 2 actors that you had were Momoa and like Ezra Miller, which Gunn was happy that he got both of them. He wasn't sure.
He only thought he was going to get Momoa.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the cameo would have worked better with just Barry and Aquaman. However, the significance of a Cavill archetype Superman and a Gadot archetype Wonder Woman being included despite the fact that they weren't necessary.
Yes.
And means something.
Thank God you guys have been saying the same thing I've been saying.
It does.
I swear.
No, seriously, Steven, you're right.
Actually, jokes on you, Enosh. We all hated it. We just brought you on here to haze you about it.
No,
intervention.
No, but Steven, you're right. It totally means something because, like, even from like, if you just look at it from a practicality standpoint, it's like, okay, why? If we're looking at the business end of it, why was it Momoa and Miller? Aside from the fact that it's the Aquaman joke and it totally suits that purpose. Who were out of the 4 characters that were in there? Who was shooting their solo movies at the same time Peacemaker was filming?
Yeah, Flash,
Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa. So it totally made sense. Oh, you're here in your suit. You're there in your suit.
Well, and you have upcoming movies we want to promote. We want to keep you in the mix.
Exactly.
Right.
This was actually one of the smartest pieces of marketing Warner Brothers has done in the last couple of years.
They don't do that often.
Is there any truth to the thing that I saw something about how Netflix supposedly is controlling like Henry Cavill's image right now?
No, I don't. I think that was a
was because of The Witcher?
It was a Listenophiles. It was a satire tweet.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't see because I heard that, but I was like, I don't know.
Right, but see, so that's the thing is like, okay, so because Gauls, she said in her interview like a month or so ago that they're not even going to start like pre-production on Wonder Woman 3 for like another year. Right, so that's in limbo. So all right, fine, you don't need her. She's doing whatever, and you still haven't figured out what's going on with the Superman situation. All right, fine, but you didn't erase them. You didn't have it just Barry and Arthur. You had a Cavill archetype Superman there, and you had clearly a stand-in for Gal Gadot there, because you're not dumping her as Wonder Woman. And this goes back to my point that I've been making for the last couple of years about how even if Warner Brothers had a plan for what they were going to do for the future of the DCEU, they're still stuck with the roots of what Snyder cast, because they've succeeded with Godot, they've succeeded with Momoa,
and the reaction to this proves that audiences want more of these characters on screen together.
And they could have easily done like, okay, instead of having Superman, we could have had Supergirl, we could have had Batman.
Like I said,
Like
I said, they could have had literally new Aquaman and new Flash,
and
if they would have done that. I think if they would have done that, I promise you, this is not the reaction that would have happened. Everyone would have been like, "Holy shit, those are the new people."
We'd be playing taps.
And like I said about it being a bad faith narrative, like The Boy Who Cried Wolf, is because you have, oh, how dare you do silhouette Superman? This is the same thing as headless Superman from Shazam. It's like, okay, well, let's say it was actually Henry. Let's say it was actually Henry Cavill, and they like showed his face or whatever in the shot. Then it would be, how dare you use him in a non-Snyder thing? The problem is that you're going to be mad,
and you put him in this show.
If your logic, if the logic that you use isn't going to influence your end, like your outcome or the claim that you are making, then don't use it as proof of something, because you are undermining.
You would use that as that is his likability. So that also means that in this world, remember when everyone was like, "Oh well, was Bloodsport? Is he the one that shot? Is that Henry's Cavill?" Well, yeah, obviously it is now. We just saw Henry, right? So you know what I'm talking about.
Henry's Cavill.
But Henry, I mean, Superman's
Cavill. No, but
you know what I mean though? Like,
Garza, you're right. We have that answer. It was his Superman. We have that answer now, for sure.
There's no question on who's Superman. You know what I mean?
I love you guys.
That's the bigger thing that I actually like with the scene as well, because look, for years,
Casey, you're here. Sorry.
Yeah. For years we have been, WB has been playing around with this whole shared cinematic universe, with first them doing it as connected, and then after BVS disconnecting it, and the whole standalone movie thing that they did with Shazam as well, like the headless cameo with Birds of Prey not even bringing back Jared Leto. We got all this bullshit stuff, and then some movies didn't even have any cameos. Not that they require them, but it's always cool to have that when you are building a shared cinematic universe, right? So they always switched it on and off and on and off. And finally, after like 2016, this was the first time we actually saw a legit cameo from one of the big major, characters.
That wasn't Zach's fault.
Right.
Yeah. And we got the same characters that were in Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's a major deal.
And not only that, but like in terms of building that shared universe, it reinforces this theory that I've had that like the creatives are controlling, like the creatives are talking.
Yes.
You will not convince me that they're not talking to each other about about what's going on. All these people that are like, Warner Brothers has this plan and they're screwing with everything. I'm like, no, Hamada didn't build shit. He's not building anything. Gunn and all the creatives are driving any connection that is happening here. Right. And so they're all talking and figuring all this shit out. And the fact that we even have a linear progression with this, because it's Arthur in the suit that he had that he got at the end of his solo movie.
That's what was great. I love the fact that he was in that suit.
And Barry's in the old suit because his movie hasn't happened yet. He doesn't have the new suit yet.
The suit that Zack Snyder didn't use because he wanted to allow James Wan to introduce it.
Yeah.
By the way, like once again, we're talking about handing the property from person to person. So
same thing with the
and also can we also talk about this narrative that's been pushed like over and over again, that like there's all this drama between like Zach and James and David Ayer, and I sit back and I look at this stuff and I'm just like, you guys are really reaching right now. Like these people who act like they're defending Zach by
they don't have an
creating these
identity. That's why.
narratives that like all this infighting is going on. Like they're all like Zach and them are just like a bunch of 12-year-olds just fighting over all these properties and everything, and like they're all just pissed off at each other.
Like they're not multimillionaires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting because they all fight for this idea that like Zach is this genius. He brought us these brilliant things, but then forget the fact that he's a genius director, millionaire, whatever. Don't worry about that. We have to defend him. We know better, like what's going on, and we've perceived all this, and we've gotten all this. No, have you heard from Zach? No, we didn't talk to Zach. We pieced these
just
things
saw his
together.
post.
We have receipts.
We thought it.
We
literally figured that this was what was going on because we saw this and we heard a tweet and somebody said this and it's like it makes your head spin how people come to the logic somehow or the lack of logic.
We literally have proof. We have receipts of James Gunn and David Ayer.
I know.
Supporting each other, right?
Yeah.
Gunn has
he's
said
just being nice. He was just being nice. He was because James Gunn was trying to ruin his Suicide Squad.
Right. But you got Gunn basically saying, "Oh yeah, well, for Peacemaker, I actually talked to Zach about the stunt coordinator because I was using the same guy that he used. So I wanted to figure out if he was good. And because of that, I also hired him for Guardians 3. It's like, dude, literally, he is saying that he has talked to Zach recently within the last year.
Well, and by the way,
that got downplayed so heavily.
Oh, absolutely.
This is a stunt coordinator who has worked with these Justice League characters, by the way. Not that they were doing stunts in this, but I mean, like, there's no way that James has that conversation and doesn't say, like, by the way, I'm going to use Jason. But by the way, they talked to Zach too. Ezra. I mean, Ezra's a big James. The reason this even happened is because through mutual friends, James Gunn found out that like Ezra Miller was like a huge. It was supposed to be just Jason, and through the grapevine, someone told James, they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we've been talking to Ezra," and he's like,
"I wonder who that person was."
Loves your shit. That would be I feel like James wouldn't miss the opportunity to mention like, oh yeah, when I talked to Zach about the stunt coordinator, he said I should get Ezra in there too.
Well, no, because he's not going to say that because it would have been a spoiler.
But in the interview where he said, where he said the reason Ezra was in it was because Ezra, he found out is like a really big fan of his movies. He found out through mutual friends. And so he's like, well, I guess we'll do him and Jason if he wants to have a cameo too then.
I love the fact that Ezra has been like he's had like what 4 cameos now or like 3.
He's had more DCU appearances than any other character.
Okay, and it makes sense for his. Think about it. Of all the characters, he's the one that it makes the most
sense. Because he's in like a Flash.
Right? Because he's been in the CW and he's been on
And 3 of those cameos he was in the old. Zach suit.
Yeah, he's in the old, the Zack Snyder suit.
With the blue lightning, by the way, too.
Well, they used the same sound effect when he, like,
everything
when he showed up. Like, when he showed up.
The only thing missing there was the score.
Yeah.
Right.
Although I saw a video going around
somebody did that. Was that you pasting or no? Who did that?
Yeah.
Somebody did that.
Yeah, but that wasn't needed. Like, there's no reason for that. The whole point is that it needs to be silent so that he's like, you're fucking late. Thanks for showing up. Like, fuck off, guys.
Yeah. And by the way, that shot which I used as the thumbnail, it's a pretty beautiful.
That's a good shot.
Like, when you have all 4 of them, and you have the shadows and the moonlight and the fog. I was like,
well, that's why it's funny people talking about like claiming that it's the same as like Justice League. I can't believe I used that. I tried my hardest to not say Justice League. I hate that word so much. But I'm not saying it's like.
And they're putting
Roger Deakins cinematography or something. But Joss made the characters look weak. He made them look small. He made them look goofy. And this literally puts Superman up in the sky, and he's not even.
He didn't touch the ground.
He's not. And he's not personable. Right. This is not a like I fought a hippo like moment, right? It's not a hope is like your car keys.
He is up there.
He is above.
But Steven,
Superman allowed Peacemaker to hold somebody in his arms that was half dead and not offer to help.
Superman has super hearing.
It sounds like criticisms I've heard about someone else making Henry Cavill Superman movies. Who else said that about Henry Cavill Superman movies?
Well, you remember whenever he's carrying somebody out,
either die a hero
actually
or you
hands
live
somebody
long
off.
enough to see yourself.
Yeah.
From the
Oh yeah, it's like at the
Remember he
Capitol
carried-
building. He didn't help anyone at the Capitol building, and he just took off, right? Or
It's
Man
like
of
people from
War.
6 years ago are just wearing Snyder fan masks now. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
Which is hilarious. I think it's funny because at that point in time, there's nothing going on anymore. Like everybody is dead except for the team, right?
Right.
And what the fuck is Superman gonna do? Like, okay, like he literally in BVS gave a patient to an EMS person. Like, okay, well,
well, and then when he did, they literally said they were like, we need some space to
right.
And the whole point of that scene was that Superman, there was nothing for him to do there. He was like, how do I help? And they were like, we need you to get out of here so that we can do our job.
At the same time, why didn't he just fly that person to the hospital? Right? Like,
well, because Zack Snyder hates Superman. You don't understand.
Well, yeah.
I don't know how you could make any other conclusion. That's the logic we're using.
He's just
now.
being true to the character that was as it was designed. So
Another thing with his Justice League cameo was also that, you know, up until day before yesterday, we, you know, as a fandom, we didn't know about Superman's future in the DCEU, and everyone was bitching about, oh, we don't even know what Superman, where he is, and is he gonna come back? Is he gonna be in the next movies? Clearly, Henry Cavill wants to be in those movies. Warner Brothers, you know, they hate Superman, they hate Henry Cavill, so they're not giving us Superman content. And Batman is being replaced, even though that's Ben Affleck's decision. And, you know, they're bringing in Keaton and replacing him. They hate Zack so much that they're taking away all our characters. Well, our characters were there in the show last night. And that's
the thing, Casey. They can't take those characters away. They literally, even if and I'm trying to tell people this for the last couple of years, even if Walter Hamada was smart enough to actually be like Kevin Feige, he's not.
Which he's not.
But if he was, he can't take these characters away. He's stuck with these characters.
Well, and the reaction, the fact they were in Peacemaker, and the reaction to it, the largely I know we're hyper focusing on the negative reaction, but the largely positive reaction to it proves that you can't.
People love the characters.
You can't ignore these characters or include them in movies on screen together,
or replace them.
And
you couldn't replace them in that.
You can't replace them. No, you can't.
Right.
So.
Like if they could have, they didn't need to have the Superman likeness of Henry Cavill. Like they didn't.
And whose fault is it that, like, why don't we have another Justice League movie? I don't. It should be just like Snyder's Justice League, but like Justice League at all. This just highlights once again that like why are these characters not in more things?
And so the hope.
Which like that should be for anybody that wants to like smear Warner Brothers for their handling of these characters. You want to embrace this. You want to say this is good. This is why is there not more of this?
And here's the narrative that they should be building is, hey, David Zaslav and everybody coming in, look at how everybody reacted to this cameo.
Remember when it's the same people that love being like, well, David said that he wants to do more stuff with the Trinity. And it's like, and that's exactly what this is. This is proving the market value of these characters on screen, which you know, the Whedon cut didn't do. Their value went through the floor. So it's not like, oh, this is more of the same, because like that actually killed the hype or interest in a Flash movie, and Zack Snyder returned it, and it killed the hype for.
There's another thing it did too, because if you look at it before that happened with Harcourt battling and you know everything, that action was on point for what the show was about. Like that was the best action in the show, and I was when they were going through those,
very well done.
They were fucking just going amazing. So
Vigilante was just
he was just going off.
Damn.
But if you look at what the Justice League would have done there, Justice League wouldn't have been murdering those folks.
Yeah.
Like they would have tried to do their best. Like it would have been overkill, like overpowered, but also they wouldn't have been like the butterflies were going to try to take them out, even though they wouldn't have, but they needed to be killed. Otherwise they would have just kept doing what the fuck they were doing. So that like that dynamic of, you needed the Justice League there, but if you look at what happened, Justice League wouldn't have done what Peacemaker and them did.
No.
So you know, it's like, well, that's the point of why this show made sense for that situation in the scenario. You get what I mean?
Just to put this into perspective again, for how big this was for a Peacemaker TV show, which is not even remotely related to Justice League. Since, you know, these fans like to compare the DCEU to MCU a lot, name one MCU show where a major Avenger character showed up.
Yeah.
No.
More than one.
It hasn't. Has it even happened in the Disney Plus shows yet?
No,
nope.
It has not. It has not.
Not to that level.
That's the thing. That's the thing. You're never gonna see. You're never gonna see something like that where it's like on a show on Disney Plus. You're never gonna see like the Avengers just like kind of just showing up. And I know some people are like, well, imagine if it was just like, you know, some people in shadows. It's like, yeah, but there has never been that scenario.
Well,
where
that's what I always said for like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I was like, why doesn't Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have a Iron Man armor in the sky in the background? Like the whole idea is that these guys are existing in this universe. You could have someone wearing Avengers costumes in the background doing something, or like have a scene where they're at like the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters and they walk by and you see the back of Captain America's costume, or like Loki. Like why was when the first episode of Loki, when he goes to the TVA, why was that queue there where all of the variants were lined up? Why was that not full of like Avengers cosplayers and just like every iteration of like not quite Tony Stark?
This is why I got so pissy like when the season finale of Loki premiered and this narrative of Marvel beat DC to the multiverse. Oh, they fucking didn't.
Look what happened. And Jim Lee was like, and that was another thing too. Somebody actually brought that in the chat when it came to James Gunn pitching this whole thing. Apparently, somebody said that. I don't know. I can't verify this. I don't know, but he didn't pitch it to Walter Hamada. He pitched it to Jim Lee about this whole fucking thing.
I start to feel dumb every time I start even getting involved in one of these arguments too, because like, who cares? Like. What? Right. Did somebody hand out a first to the multiverse trophy or something? Like, it's a blight on DC forever because they were like.
Steven, it's MCU envy. It's like what Casey just said. It's MCU envy. There's literally, you know what it is? It's DC fans that they want the hype and they want the praise and they want to be like carried on everybody's shoulders. And what they don't realize is that the reason that is the case is because of who owns Marvel Studios, the best brand builder on planet Earth that owns a news network and a sports network and has Marvel Nights in the NBA and puts it on Good Morning America and ABC World News Tonight all the fucking time. The general audience knows Thanos because they see it every fucking day because of the marketing machine with Disney.
And they have ESPN announcers. They're like, work Thanos into a comment during the game.
Bingo.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
somehow something about rings and stones. You could do it.
I think what's crazy and or not crazy, but like kind of frustrating about it too is this is just a continuation of this was apparent pretty early on with the whole Snyder Cut movement, was that a significant portion of that I despise like true like gatekeeping and the idea of like arguments about true fans. So this isn't about like your
it's on a billboard, Steven. What are you talking about?
So this isn't about your like your fandom points establishing status or whether or not you're a big enough fan or whatever, so much as just whether or not people are being genuine about their motivations and their desires for things. Is that a significant portion of the like quote unquote Snyder fandom or like Snyder Cut support is people who like found it via like DC versus Marvel meme pages on Facebook, where it's like their entire investment of this universe originated with like anti-Marvel memes and tribalism.
Yes,
and the problem is that what happened was that the Snyder Cut gave them a moral high ground and a soapbox and the AFSP and all of these things that, not all of them, obviously, there's so many great people, but it provided an umbrella for people to gather under by which they could continue to levy their tribally motivated argument about superhero IP for whatever that value has. But now they had like, well, I am in this because of justice for Snyder, and I'm in this because of the AFSP. And it's like, but you know that's not like,
and Ray Fisher. Don't you know if we watch any of those things that we're
talking about accountability over entertainment, you can see that thrown around all the time. It's like, well, what about so accountability? So that means integrity. So that means like not lying about situations or misrepresenting art in order to spread a narrative. Like Ray, when Ray stands against like the Flash or whatever, he's not hyperbolic or making up lies about the motivations or the concept.
Trash the movie.
Exactly. Right. He's saying, I'm not participating in this because of a principle that I have. He's not out there saying like, this suit looks stupid, so I'm protesting it. He's not like he's not even being hyperbolic about like the stuff that happened or tying it all. He's sticking to the facts because he knows that his argument only matters if he maintains his credibility and his integrity and his principles. And when the whole like boy cried wolf scenario happens, that destroys the notion of accountability over entertainment.
Look at what happened today. Warner Bros. The stuff that happened with yes, I get to bring this up. All right, so this whole thing that happened today with Warner Brothers Studio and their Black History Month tweet, right? And everybody attacks it, or not everybody, but like so many people attack it and like their attack is where's Cyborg, right? Like that's what they're upset about because the picture now again. And as I've been telling people this all day.
Black Canary and Bloodsport, right?
Right. So 2 Suicide Squad characters that are black, and then because you didn't want to have 3, so that's why Viola isn't there. You put in Journey Smollett to break it up so that it's not 3 Suicide Squad characters.
So you have a Birds of Prey one.
And it's a woman.
Right, and it's a woman, right? Well, that's what I'm saying, Garz. That's why it was Journey instead of Viola. So
you can see the focus group to decide who to go into that tweet, and it's so awkward.
It's a marketing tweet, and
they were like, well, we can't use the biggest black superhero that we've had in a movie that features a plot that is inherently inspired by the fact that by his black background and upbringing. Like, we can't use him, so let's use like
so
awkward.
So they it's Steven, the marketing for this, like it the people that are saying that this was a direct, like, the marketing, they were told
the people
not
that made
to
the
use
decision
Cyborg.
were white, is what it is.
No, of course they're always white, but they didn't look at it as for that tweet. They didn't look at it as
they couldn't not put out a tweet for Black History Month.
Okay,
but then
right,
so they put them in this position where they're like, I don't,
No, here it's appropriate. First of all, they're using Black History Month as a marketing tool, which that's offensive.
Yeah,
but
well,
every corporation does that. But no, it wasn't a case of them looking at it and going, "Well, we can't use Cyborg." No, it was a case of them going, "Let's use the two," because let's be honest, Will Smith and Idris Elba.
You're gonna use Will Smith and Idris Elba.
Right, you're gonna use the two, especially since they point to a movie or a series of movies that connect to your hit show that you just had on HBO Max. So that was the reasoning for that marketing decision. But when everybody went after it, their attack was, "Where's Cyborg? # I stand with Ray Fisher." And then what did Ray Fisher do when he quoted it? Did he cite himself? No. What did he cite? He cited, "Hey, where's the apology to all of the other real
non-fictional
black actors that have suffered from your discriminatory practices?"
Because it's not about entertainment; it's about the principle.
Right.
Wow.
So you see where
concept.
Right. So you see where he
understands. It's almost like he's got integrity or something.
Right. A little bit, right? Something like that.
Well,
right. So he understands the core of the message, but all of them, they're just like that's why I got so frustrated with a lot of them. It's like, you guys don't give a shit about Ray Fisher. You guys don't give a shit about Hollywood being racist.
Oh, they just want to push that against you. That fucking hashtag. You know. Like last weekend when I had my little fun with the whole fucking Flash, the DC reel, the sizzle reel thing and stuff like that, and like you can't use the hashtag and support the Flash at the same time. I even got that tonight when I responded to Ray Fisher and I put like a picture of Jack Nicholson. I'm like, there's that. Somebody came to me and we're like, you're like, dude, you're in the wrong here, man. You fucking, you can't use the hashtag. You can't. I'm like, all right, you guys have ruined the hashtag for me. First off. Fine. If you don't want me to use the hashtag, sure. I won't use the hashtag anymore. Do I still stand with Ray Fisher? Fucking absolutely I do. But I'm not going to use the hashtag because you guys use that as a fucking weapon, which is ridiculous. I'm sorry. Stop using that as a weapon. But I still stand with the guy. I hope he gets justice. And guess what? He's going to be in Rebel Moon. How about that?
Yep.
You know what?
I was gonna say,
come over here. We're gonna
the best film ever made.
Use it as a weapon. Fuck you for using that as a weapon. Stop that shit.
Well, once again, Boy Who Cried Wolf, you're destroying your own narrative by taking something that actually matters and reducing it to a comic book movie argument, which is once again when Ray people were saying where's Ray Fisher or where's Cyborg, I stand with Ray Fisher, and what Ray Fisher said is, if not to paraphrase, but to say the core of what he was saying was, I don't want you to celebrate black non-fictional characters. I want you to respect black people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's actually respect actual black real world people.
And as a black man myself, like seriously, the weaponization of I stand with Ray Fisher, I want to punch these people in the face if I ever see them in person. It's disgusting. It's ridiculous. Fisher's tweet calling out what they did was extremely appropriate because, it is a bunch of old white guys that are trying to make it's the same thing that happened, a couple years ago in the throes of right in the middle of the pandemic when it started. And all of a sudden, everybody, when the civil unrest was occurring, and all of a sudden the NFL and everybody is like, oh, yeah, we're promoting Juneteenth. You don't give a fucking shit about Juneteenth. You don't care. You didn't even know what the holiday was until your black secretaries told you a second ago. You learned it from them. Don't tell me that any of you 32 old wrinkly white dudes knew what the fuck Juneteenth was until they said it. So you're using this as a marketing demographic. Ray should call you out because you don't give a shit. And these others that are weaponizing his hashtag do not give a shit about all the other Ray Fishers, the unnamed Ray Fishers that are still getting abused by old Hollywood, not just by Warner Brothers, but by Disney and by all Universal and everybody else. So many other stories that we don't know.
If you think about it, right, other than Batman, Peacemaker never brought up Cyborg. He never brought up anything else. Martian Manhunter. He never brought up Plastic Man. He never brought up anything except for those characters minus
Green
Batman.
Lantern.
We know why, right? Yeah, he didn't even bring up Green Lantern. So it would make sense narratively why those four would show up because he's literally have talked about them several times, right? Okay, so if they would have had a Cyborg there and a silhouette, everybody would have been pissed because they would have been like, "Well, is that Ray? Like, why didn't you show Ray?"
Right.
Well, what the fuck?
And Ray would have called it out.
Ray would have called it out. And
Ray definitely would have called it out.
And he absolutely had the right to do it because guess what? He knows what the fuck the situation is. But here's the thing. What James Gunn just did with Peacemaker and having 4 members of the Justice League who are core members of the Justice League, if you were to tell me, hey, next season,
all of whom were cast by Zack Snyder and
exactly, love Zack and work with Zack and they love him.
Of all praise him,
season, Harley Quinn's going to show up. We'd be like, oh, okay, like that's not big. That's not a big deal. Having the Justice League fucking show up, dude. Now anything's possible. Like next season for Peacemaker, I wouldn't even be able to tell you, who's going to show up because now it's just anybody's game because. If
one member could show up for an action sequence,
if they're willing to do I don't.
They're willing to do anything for him.
Imagine how funny like the headless Superman cameo would be in Peacemaker. Like if you're gonna do silhouettes and stuff like that, imagine all of the like faceless big name characters you can throw in here. And like, sure, I guess people are gonna hate that because they're gonna hate it either way. But like. The things you can do with those characters is just hilarious to have like to be able to be like, oh, Superman isn't off limits just because we can't get Henry Cavill in the movie, not with a larger contract. Let's not use Henry. Let's say Ezra. Let's say Ezra can't come to set. Doesn't mean you can't have like somebody in a Flash suit like shown from the background and have Peacemaker be like, "Fuck off, douchebag," like as just like a whatever in the show.
Right. Well,
then why are you okay with that?
Yeah, but that's the thing, though, right? Is like it's using Ezra's likeness. So it'd be one thing if it was just a random Flash, right? Like even with what happened with Joker in Birds of Prey, like we could all tell that wasn't Jared Leto. It just wasn't. Like they had a full on fucking front, like basically from the back. We were like, that's not Jared Leto. Like get the fuck out of here. That looked fake. Whereas these shots. If you would have told me Gal actually shot it,
it was intended to look like Jared Leto, though.
It was intended to look like Leto.
I'm not saying that makes it as good, but the point is that they were not. They could have easily given a different Joker or given him a different enough look that would make people look at it and say, "Oh,
but it was
they are retconning." They are retconning. They're taking it away. Yeah.
Right.
The difference here is
they were really stupid. They could have used Joaquin Phoenix in it, but they didn't, thankfully.
Because his Joker doesn't. That character doesn't look like he has a girlfriend, specifically like Harley at all.
Right.
That is not a characterization for that character. But if you were going to, have a, whatever, just a different looking Wonder Woman, dude, they could have done that. They could have done it with Superman. Like we didn't. If they wanted to do that, they could have. But the fact that they didn't
especially people ragging on Gunn's humor, he could have totally just put somebody in a Christopher Reeve suit.
Yeah,
he could have done that, and he did.
There was absolutely no doubt in my mind that you see these are Zack Snyder's Justice League members.
Yeah,
this isn't Josh Whedon.
It's his foundation.
I think that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just saying it's the foundation.
Yeah, and the thing that's different with these cameos is that this one actually involves a contract with the actor, which WB paid for, just to be there, to be, as to be fucked
actually,
off.
To have lines. Yeah, to have lines.
Yeah.
I mean, they were involved in it. It wasn't like, oh, well.
You know what I loved about it, too, is the fact that, like, both Jason and Ezra were not on the same set at all. But there's it doesn't cut.
I have no idea.
It actually literally the camera pans.
It pans.
Yeah,
I love that. I fucking love. I love the fact you have that realism. Was like, all right, let's make it pan, and obviously we can do like a quick little edit or whatever the hell they did, and it's like. But I love the fact that it panned as opposed to just like cut to just like coverage.
And that was intentional. You know that Gunn wrote and directed this last episode, and he's apparently going to write and direct the entire second season, which is interesting. Yeah. But like
better bring Kite Man.
I know. I bet he is.
He went into it and was like, "No, I'm going to." And one of the things that I love about that I appreciate about the Suicide Squad was his visual touch. A lot of all the visual stuff that he did in that movie was fucking amazing.
It
so
really
like the idea that he was like, no, I want to make this seamless. This isn't going to be a hard cut. I want to really make it seem like they were both here. And he, painstakingly went to whatever lengths to make that happen. You know what? You're right. The door is open now. Okay.
I mean, anybody could show up.
Have Black Adam show up.
Yeah.
No, have Green Arrow show up.
I want the Rock and John Cena to. I want the Rock and John Cena face.
Oh dear Lord! Oh dear Lord!
I want.
Can we get enough of that already?
Talk about. You better believe that's
once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime, 3 times in a lifetime.
Yes,
dude, I'm telling you, and that's what's crazy about it is that doesn't sound as crazy as he had Aquaman and fucking Flash on his show. Okay. Also, Black Adam's like, okay, what's
right?
Cool.
Technically, it's character wise, it's a downgrade, but like
exactly,
but like real world wise, it's like holy shit, The Rock is in this show with John Cena.
Yeah. Listen, I would. Okay, so
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it really does open up that anything can happen. I didn't think that this would happen. I was tipped off to the Flash coming aboard, to Ezra being there. I had a weird Saturday last Saturday because Ezra actually reached out to me. And I was like, whoa. Yeah, that's how I woke up. And I was like, because like somebody else had reached out to me, like telling me all this stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And then they're like, yeah, we'll look at his Instagram and I'm there with him. And I was like, oh, I was like, okay, well, if it's really true, like, because he told me that this was happening, and I was like,
but this guy told me that I couldn't tell anybody. And I was like, okay, well, that's great. Thanks. Give me this huge piece of news and I can't tell anybody. And then I'm like, well, BS. It's not going to happen anyway. Screw that. This guy's not for real. And then like all of a sudden, like I wake up Saturday and it's like, hey, man, which was so cool.
Wow. Ezra said, hey, man.
Yeah. He's just like, hey, man, just wanted you to know, man. And it's like, it's his official thing. And I'm just like,
well,
oh my gosh, this is actually, so that means he's actually going to show up. And, but
what do you say?
Oh, it was cool. It was cool. There was just stuff. We're trying to get him on the lounge, man. It's gonna be cool.
Nice.
I know. I would love to. I would love to get him on the stream, man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But yeah, no, he was. His whole thing was just like what he was fighting for, what he was looking for, like how he just wants people to to connect with the Flash movie and they're aware of the negativity and everything, but they just want people to connect with it because he's like, it deals with inspiring people. He wants to inspire people to this movie and wants people to see the movie. He's like, I don't even care how they see the movie, just see the movie, watch it, and so but that being said,
that's a great point. That's a great point by Andrew. Sorry, Enosh, but
fantastic point. Yeah, the fact that they showed up in an R-rated show is pretty cool.
The fact that that Aquaman was even said, "Fuck you, Barry." Like,
right, exactly.
Right. And that's why it's funny when people.
That was not a Justice League thing, okay?
Well, but that's what's funny when people are like,
"I hate that rumor," and then he said, "Fuck you, Barry," and it's like he said 2 F-bombs, not just one. He said 2.
That was funny.
But that's why it's funny when people are like, "How dare they?" Like not like push back against Zach so hard and then do this. And it's like, okay, I agree that like it's wrong that they didn't let him do this stuff, but therefore it should be a good sign that they're loosening up on.
Does anybody wonder?
By the way, this whole thing is totally exists in the vacuum of the fact that Zack Snyder, like when we're talking about disrespecting characters and making jokes and stuff, Zack Snyder literally tweeted out a picture of Batman going down on Wonder Woman and said canon. Yeah. And it's but we can't disrespect these guys though with jokes, with sex jokes. Like
I would not be surprised if Zack actually likes the show.
They literally allowed their $1 billion fucking golden boy to sit there and say "fuck" twice. Okay,
twice.
Like
he dropped 2 F-bombs within 6 seconds. Yeah,
listen,
golden boy, nice.
that they're willing to go. You know what? We made $1 billion on a PG-13 film, and it wasn't anything like that. Yeah. But we have a potential sequel coming out that we're filming. We're going to allow you to basically portray the character in that is not really in line with the $1 billion film we made, but that's more in line with the Zack Snyder's Justice League character. Yeah, you know what? We'll go ahead and we'll allow it. Yeah, like
you're
dude,
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It was so much. It was such more. Like I actually brought that up, and people were like, "I don't know how it's anything like Zack Snyder." I'm like, he's dropping F-bombs for God's sake.
Yeah.
Where was that?
When the joke happened, the first thing that popped into my head was him pointing at Barry. Like that scene, and then Steven, you listed them off earlier. There's that scene, there's the trying on the hat scene when they were about to go into Star Labs, and then even the scene, there was a conversation that Barry and Arthur had about Victor. Like that, like I thought you didn't care about him. I didn't say that. Like that whole there's at least 3 scenes in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Arthur have had quite a dynamic.
Right. It's only in that movie. It is only in that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also the people saying that it's hypocritical for, them to allow this here. Like Steven said, yes, I agree that there is that hypocrisy sometimes with, Snyder haters, but that even though Zack Snyder's Justice League was R-rated, it's still a Justice League film, and kids still watch that movie. Even though it's R-rated,
it's a hard
kids to watch it, right? Yeah. So this is a Peacemaker show, which
kids aren't watching it.
This is way more R-rated.
It's not even the worst thing. There are like heads being sliced off.
No, listen. Okay, Garza was talking. Listen, the action in the finale was awesome.
Your new boss, William. He did his first show on the Poindexter Lounge today. And,
okay.
That's right.
Now he's got a little bit of a big head.
Yeah.
No, but like the action in the finale was awesome. But go back to the scene where they went to the warehouse where they were making the stuff.
Oh yeah, with the gorilla.
Right,
yeah,
right, with the gorilla. Like, go back to that. Just when Adebayo was first trying to talk to the clerk, and all of a sudden her head vaporizes.
Just fucking,
and it's just headshot after headshot after headshot with a shotgun, with a
sprayed
gun,
sprayed.
spraying all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Well, not even that. Dude.
Random.
Think about the no. Think about the fucking shot, which is incredible. That all the vigilante stuff was all reshot. That is incredible. Like, if you guys didn't know that, everything vigilante that James Gunn directed, all reshot, which means it's seamless. There's not a scene where I'm like, oh, that looks like it's reshot.
Oh yeah, that's a reshot.
No,
that's reshot. No.
Oh, the scene where he's about to cut off his pinky, I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that hurt me, and I wasn't. Even
Oh yeah.
Well, and then I loved the like. Not gonna lie, it seems like you're kind of upset about the toe thing. But I think one of the greatest moments in the finale, partially because of the dyebeard stuff, but just because it's such a it's so real. But when he breaks his shin, it was so fucking real. Like that's it's one of those things where you're like, you know what, this shit it happens all the time.
Yep.
And like the fact that like. And it's not just like a trip and a stumble. It's like it just fucking compound fracture.
Yeah.
But it's funny because he falls down and you're like, dumbass. And then like the camera pans back and you're like, oh fuck.
Right. You feel it. You can't. I mean,
well, because you got that
but you know
chainsaw
that's
moment,
another great point. Like the whole dye beard thing. Like talking about like people who didn't watch it or didn't give it the time of day and got only so far into it and whatever. That stupid dye beard, joke. I'm sitting there watching that, and I'm feeling every second of that dialogue, where he just goes because it just touches you, man. That it's like
I never thought anybody even noticed it until recently. Someone
till some asshat just does, and it's like, oh my gosh.
The best thing Gunn does with that is, you see Economos at times, but he juxtaposes it with Peacemaker and everybody else reacting to what he's saying.
Well, and once again with Peacemaker's arc, realizing that the way he treats people matters.
Yep.
And
because he felt shit. He felt like shit in there. He wasn't laughing at that moment. Like
because he didn't realize that because what Economos was hearing when Peacemaker would make fun of him for that wasn't like, oh, it's a stupid beard thing. I made a mistake, whatever. It was
Adebayo was also telling him.
Think about everything that emotionally for him that hinges on the everything behind the decision to do the beard dyeing, and he's like, because I didn't have a girlfriend and I thought that it would help, but I didn't have time, and I just worked a job that paid me not enough, and the roots grew out, and it reveals that not only all of the like reasons for it, but also he's keenly aware. When every moment Peacemaker is mocking him of all of these same things. He knows his roots show. He knows he uses cheap dye. He knows it doesn't look good. And the only hope that he had was maybe nobody will notice. Maybe the fact that I'm invisible to everybody will actually prevent this from being an embarrassment. And Peacemaker was like, nope. The only time somebody's going to see you as a person is to see your dyed beard, and that what that moment reveals is like, oh, I was actually on somebody's radar when I actually wanted to be invisible, like I always am otherwise. And it's like that when James Gunn works, it's when he nails those moments. When he doesn't, it's when those moments don't work. Then all of this other stuff the rest of the show that's why I didn't like Guardians 2 as much. That's why I didn't like the Suicide Squad as much, because those moments that make you say like, oh wow, that dye beard thread is so impactful now.
Which I think he tried to do with Polka Dot Man too, but it kind of worked.
Yeah.
It did, but it was like there was too much of it in there that when it got down to the point where he's like, okay, and now I twist the knife, and now I planted this, and now I'm going to do it, and And here, to me, it was firing on all cylinders, from the Peacemaker what a joke payoff to the diebeard payoff to.
I think that there's something to what you were saying earlier, Stephen, about like it's a huge ensemble for the Suicide Squad. Mm-hmm. Whereas with this show, and one of the things, going back to the warehouse scene with the gorilla, like Charlie. I
thought it was going to be Gorilla Grodd.
I think a lot of people kind of did.
Yeah, that was a question. It's like, wait a minute, what's the deal with that? But
is that Grodd?
Just one of my favorite moments of the show is like the aftermath of that, where they're all just like it's a team moment, and like you see Harcourt's shield drop a little bit, and she takes that selfie that she sends to everybody in like the group that she named for them based off of that song that they were listening to, and it's like just. Right. When you have a smaller group, when you have a smaller cast, Gunn can nail those moments.
Well,
those
and
moments
also
of realism.
Vigilante, like, dude, I had no idea that I would love that character so much. And
I think a lot of people didn't. I mean, he had one of the funniest lines in the previous episode when he's just peeing on a tree and his pants are completely down.
Right.
And a crowd he's like, what are you doing? He's all, I can't pee with clothing on my butt.
But that's also like a real thing, though. Like these people, I know people that are like all of these people, and so like you could be like, you could say these people are ridiculous. You could say that like their humor is dumb or whatever, but like it doesn't change the fact that there are people like the moment on the bus where they're doing the farts on Adebayo, which like
not even that, confirmed. Just a real moment of whenever he's like, hey, real quick, when Economos came in with that chainsaw, I feel like he was kind of raining on my parade. I said I wanted to do something. I know. I fucking heard you say that.
The best Peacemaker joke in the entire thing was so good that it happened and was over before I even had a chance to laugh at it. It was one of those things where you're like, I want to can I pause and rewind? I got to laugh at that. Yeah. Was when they were at the vet and they were like, I'm in, and he's like, hashtag me too. And but it was so fast, and and by the time you were like, wait, did he just
wait a minute? Did I just hear that?
Did he just say hashtag me too? But by the time you're there, you're already on the vets being like, let's go, and they're like, no.
Which that was funnier because that's to me that was
it was, but what made them hashtag me too joke so funny was the fact that it was buried. Like if they had given that moment a moment to shine, if they had like given him the stage and been like spotlight hashtag me too, it wouldn't have been nearly as funny. But the fact that it took like 2 seconds to be like, whoa, wait,
right? The subtle jokes are always
like
yes,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like the show worked, and I can only imagine like what, because my thought is he's like gearing up because he already said he's trying to do something Suicide Squad related again, and it's going to be a different genre than Peacemaker. My thing is he's going to be doing a Suicide Squad series, and I talked to Ben about this where he's going to be bringing some even more obscure characters, but imagine them kind of having that arc for the episode and then dying or like continuing a couple of arcs or a couple of episodes and then dying and having it fleshed out. Like that's what I see him.
Waller thing.
How did you guys feel about the fact that there's when it comes to season 2 of Peacemaker, the fact that he killed his dad, but now his dad's gonna haunt him?
Oh my gosh, that last scene!
Okay,
that last shot where he's sitting on his front porch,
and he's just next to him,
and dad, and a beer.
I mean, are we like feeling good about that? Like that's how you keep that whole dynamic going,
right? From the business end of it, Dave. That's how you bring Robert Patrick. That's how you keep him in the show. Right?
Well, and also speaking about what I said earlier about Guardians of the Galaxy 2 losing what it needed in order to continue those character arcs, to me that is the way that like I know that there's more gas in the tank for Gunn to do something meaningful with Peacemaker's arc in season 2 now, because he can continue to play off of that instead of being like, well, I took him through his entire arc, and now all that's left is just empty dick jokes.
But you got to remember that Task Force X and Argus are both exposed now, so Amanda Waller is fucked.
Yeah, that's very.
That is
that whole, that to me that was part of
the key.
raised a major eyebrow for me, especially like you said, she came back like and literally had her WTF moment, like there, and it's like
she was like, "Fuck."
Okay, what is gonna happen? And I listen. Please continue to cast Viola Davis in that. Or continue to bring.
We all agree
in that role. She's
and she did it uncredited, which means she didn't get paid for it. That's what's crazy about it.
Yeah,
well, they probably shot it at the with all her whatever.
Probably, yeah, but like,
he wrote it during the pandemic. He didn't film the Suicide Squad during the pandemic.
Oh no, I'm talking about like when they were filming Peacemaker.
It's a reused scene.
But my point though is that it's an actor. If you're going to be in something that's like this, you're going to get paid, right? But if you don't, then okay, fine.
Well, but in the third episode where she appeared in that webcam thing.
That was the first episode.
Yeah, that was the first one. First episode, and then now she appeared in this last one.
If I had to venture a guess, Garza, I'm sure that on some level there is at least an understanding that she'll return. Like,
she's going to have to play a major part in the second season.
And what I'm wondering about, he's working on another DC spinoff show, and there's going to be a Peacemaker season 2. I don't know that they're necessarily going to abandon.
Boba Fett
I wouldn't say that they're going to abandon Suicide Squad on the big screen, but when I was thinking earlier this season about like what Suicide Squad characters might cameo, and I was leaning towards that, like, oh, maybe they bring in Deadshot at the end. I was thinking, you know what? Suicide Squad would actually be a way cooler TV show.
Fuck yeah, it would be.
Than it would be like an A-Team. Do the A-Team with the Suicide Squad, like. Yeah. And then also think about like with Gunn, the stable of characters that he could run through for a TV show. Every week you bring in some new.
He could bring in Killer Frost. He could bring in.
You bring in, but not just big characters, but you bring in like. What never heard of character am I going to dig up from the depths of the prison in order to kill off this episode? And
the last movie.
And we could have like a DC character you've never heard of before getting their head blown off every single episode.
Condiment King, yes.
Condiment King.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like he could easily be doing that and setting it up, and that's why I was saying. Nobody's off the table now. If he was able to bring in the Justice League, then at that point, everything below that is like, oh, okay, well, it's not a downgrade, but it is because it's not the Justice League, which means even then, that means the Justice League could potentially show up in a Suicide Squad. Like imagine, so the Suicide Squad versus Justice League scenario, like, dude, what if, you had basically the Justice League being the villain version of, their point of view from the Suicide Squad. You know what I mean?
Down the road, like, especially like when the third Wonder Woman movie is like filming, and whenever they figure out what they're going to do with Superman, we could actually see Gall and whoever, whether it's Cavill or somebody else, in the show. Like, that could totally happen. Like, I don't know if it would happen in the second season, but it could totally happen down the road if they want to keep that going, for sure. But the funny thing to me is, like, and Steven, you brought up multiple times tonight how you didn't really care for Guardians Volume 2. And
did I mention that I didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy 2? I was wondering about that.
I didn't either.
It's funny because
on that note, I got to get going. I got 2 hours sleep last night, but I wanted to stop by here because
you're looking a little
and I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to people who have like minds and get this stuff. So.
Enosh, stay warm, brother.
Hey, you
son of a bitch.
Yeah, you guys live pretty close to each other, so
he's like 10 minutes down the road and he still won't do a collab with me. I don't know what.
Dude, have you seen the snow? Have you seen this? Have you seen?
I could literally walk to your house, man.
You want to walk all the way down here?
No.
It was like 70. It was like 75, 77 2 days ago.
Hey, wait a minute. Are you going?
Well, it was 80 degrees.
Hang on. Are you going to the thing on March 1st? Are you going to see the Batman on March 1st?
Me?
Yeah.
Where?
Trillium.
I don't go to Trillium. I live over by Rave.
Well, Rave isn't doing it. Trillium is doing it.
Let's talk. Let's talk.
Okay. I already have my ticket. You need to get it.
I don't have a ticket. I don't have a ticket. All right, guys. Hey,
all right.
Thanks again. We'll see y'all later. All right. Take it later. Bye-bye.
All right.
Yeah, but listen though, Peacemaker season 2. I don't know. You can't go big you can't go big again because he already went Starro. Now he's done this cow and an alien invasion. Like,
I love that.
He's gonna say hold my beer.
You what?
He's gonna say
hold my beer, and he's gonna be like,
he's
watch.
gonna go bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, who could he go bigger with? Like,
that's the thing. That's what's so great about this is like the fact that we don't know. I mean,
I think that we'll have. You're saying who's bigger than Justice League?
What I wanted to get into next.
The only person bigger than Justice League.
When it comes to hold my beer and Ray talking about the Batman, we all saw that clip, right? We all saw that Batman.
I've been stopping. I haven't watched anything.
Of course, stars. I didn't see it.
I don't want to watch it. I'm gonna go see the movie.
I have no, Dave. I'm with you. I have no willpower, and you're the reason I saw it.
Yeah.
And you know what the funny thing? Here's the thing. Did you see the full clip? Because whoever posted it, that you like, the one that you shared, was like the first 7 seconds were like cut off. Like it wasn't the full thing. So I went and found the Kimmel episode.
Yeah. I saw the full clip, man. I know, and I feel bad because I'm like, Garza, you didn't see it, man.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see it. Like, dude, a movie's coming. It's already like hyped up. You don't need to be releasing clips. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro.
I know, but they're gonna do that. But at the same time, it's like I can't hold back. And in this clip, we're not gonna. You know what? We can go without even saying what's in it.
Yeah, we can. We can go without describing.
We can because there's probably going to be a lot of people in the chat that haven't seen it. But all I have to say, Garza, is my God, did Matt Reeves go? You know what? Hold my fucking beer, and not just hold my beer, but hold my fucking beer. Yeah. Okay, because I was like watching this clip. I'm like, all right, cool. It's a clip that has that's at Gotham PD. I will say that's it. But and then you just go, holy shit! Did I just see that happen?
After the clip was posted, I saw. It's funny because like,
don't look at the chat, Garza, because people are probably going to say something.
At this point, you have to because we haven't seen the movie yet. You're headcanoning why that happened, but there were so many people that were like, why did that just happen? We need answers. We need to know. Well, we're going to find out in like 12 days or whatever. But it was one of those moments where it's just like, well, shit. All right. And funny enough, it also answers a question that some of us might have had after seeing the very first trailer at Fandom, because there is a shot in that trailer that is totally in this sequence. In fact, Dave, this could have been one of the things that was part of that first 25% that was filmed. Before they could have shot this very early.
Probably could have been
because of where it lines up with one of the shots in that first trailer, and it's like I have an idea. I'm pretty confident why that happened, but still, it was like unexpected.
Very unexpected. I mean, okay, so Steven, did you see it?
I did.
Okay, good. Thoughts without actually saying what's in it.
I think that of the things that I have seen and heard about the movie, and people have seen it, people like it's being screened now, so like it's a thing that people are going to be start talking about more.
Yes.
The number one thing that I am the most appreciative of is every time I see a clip, I think, damn, the fact that they let this be almost 3 hours is amazing, because the highlight of all of these clips to me, there are many things about them that I like, from just like the cinematography and the aesthetic and all these things, but they are, every single moment that we've seen has so much atmosphere and room to breathe that you only get from an edit that isn't driven by a runtime mandate.
Yeah. Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
And if you had to shave off 30 minutes of this movie, these scenes, some of them might be cut, or they would just not have as much there. And when you start to shorten up these exchanges, you let out some of the tension, you reduce some of the like slow burn, and it loses not just kind of the atmosphere, but like the whole noir kind of style suffers because of it. And so I guess without getting into the clips themselves, that is the thing that I think about whenever I see one of them is like, I think, oh, that camera is awesome. Lots of soft focus. So like, that's right up my alley. I love the shallow depth of field. Dark cinematography. Greg Fraser is killing it.
How dark is that fucking cinematography?
The fact that you can see anything at all with how dark and dingy it is, I mean, it's so David Fincher. I love it. But like so David Fincher. I'm anticipating the I couldn't see anything complaints after the movie comes out.
There'll be plenty of those. Yes.
But it's in theaters only, so it's not on TV settings. It'd be one thing if it was coming out on day and date.
But even
through that,
TV
like people,
I'm always surprised. I'm always surprised by
celebrated, not collaborated.
People still complaining about that when it's dark in theaters. But also, I've been to a few theaters before where it's like, oh wow, like I used to go to most like RPX and theaters that had like really, really bright screens. And so I was always confused when that kind of stuff would come out. Like with BVS, people were like, no, it was literally too dark, not like edgy dark, but like I just couldn't see what was going on most of the time. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I saw like Fury or something at a smaller theater near me and was like, oh man, if a projector isn't bright, it really can screw up the way this stuff plays. So
I'll tell you the biggest aesthetic that popped for me from this particular clip was Chiquino's score.
Oh yeah,
like you.
Yeah, I haven't even listened to the music.
Like,
dude, you haven't even listened to the music either, man.
Oh, dude. I know that's because I've been busy. I've been busy though too, so it's not like I've just been like.
So
you should listen to the score at least.
He's released 3, and the last one he did was Catwoman, which came out yesterday, last night.
Man.
And
so
Catwoman is my favorite one. I've listened to it like 50 times because it's amazing. But he released the Batman theme and he released the Riddler theme and then Catwoman. But even in this clip from this clip, it's all subjective. But Riddler was awesome. I mean, they're all awesome. They're all great. But like, even the piece that you hear in this clip is different. It's not any of those themes. It's something totally different. And to me, I heard some more. I heard Untouchables. I heard Untouchables in it, like
the Catwoman one.
Well, no, in the clip, in the Kimmel clip.
Oh, in the clip, okay.
And like, because he's using a lot of piano, he's using like a ton of piano, like throughout like this whole thing for like all the themes and for all the orchestrations, and it's like, and just the tension that it builds in this clip, and it goes to what Steven was saying in terms of like, throughout this, like it's this clip isn't very long. It's like maybe 45 seconds tops, but like 45 seconds out of 2 hours and 55 minutes, it's like, holy shit, you're really not seeing a whole lot. But it's crazy how like it's like half tension and build up, like what the fuck is going on, and then half crazy frenetic action at the very end of it, and it's like, wow. And that's the thing that's really striking me about this is I really think that we're about to get a Batman film that somehow I think Reeves has found a way to balance the Nolan aesthetic with the Snyder aesthetic. He has found the middle, and we're about to get a Batman film that is right in the middle of the realism and the massive suspension of disbelief.
I just love that you can get characters like this that can be across the spectrum of approaches, and it's flexible enough to support all those different tones. And that, yes, I love this tone, but I think that you can have a campy Batman movie like Lego Batman, or even let's say they wanted to do a like Batman 66 inspired something. They could do that, and I think it would be good under the right hands. But you can also do Nolan, and you can also do Snyder, and you can also do this. And there's no like right way to do it. There
isn't. That's the way it is. I mean, like when you watch,
there's no wrong way to do it. Maybe it would be better than to say there's no right way to do it. But like, yeah.
I mean, even like what if we're going back to Batman and Robin, is that a wrong way to do something? No, there's people that like that, and even I can even watch that and go like, you know what? There's something about that I like. That I like the fact that they fucking do this. They click their heels and skates come out somehow, and it's like, what the fuck?
Well,
but that's
and you can appreciate the creative choices without believing that they executed it properly. I don't think that Batman v Robin was flawed in conception. I just don't think it was allowed to be what it could have or should have been.
Called the Batman v Robin.
Yeah, Batman v Robin. Hey, listen, that'd have been a good fucking film.
Batman v Robin by the minute coming up.
Yeah.
No, but like, when this clip came out, and I was like, oh my god, I can't help but watch this. And then when I did, I mean, it was literally one of those moments where I went, oh my god, did that just fucking and I was talking with somebody else too. I'm like, dude, this just and then of course memes came out of it, and people made their like little edits about it.
The Scooby Doo one was funny. The Scooby Doo one was funny.
Adam West one, the funniest. Like, they even put that pow thing.
Really?
And what I love too is the fact that was happening from people who were like genuinely celebrating it. I feel like there's oftentimes that kind of memeing will happen as a like punching down on like making fun of it, but I really appreciated that like people that even loved it were just like, oh, this is hilarious. It's a great scene, but also this edit is hilarious.
And part of it was like a lot of people were realizing, and I didn't even realize this, is that there's a thing that happens in that clip that we don't see happen a whole lot with that particular character.
I mean, I'll probably have to watch it after we're done here. And I only say that just because
we could watch it right now, guys, if you want.
No, I want to watch it. I don't mind watching it like just subtly, like in my own zone. Yeah. But just because like I don't mind it, having to watch something like that. I just don't want to.
I get it.
Like, and I normally don't do that. Like, I haven't done that, but it's been so long. It's been since 2012 since we've had a Batman fucking film. Like, just Batman. Like, yeah, dude, I love BVS. It's my #1 film. But that is not just a Batman film. That is so much other stuff and it's a Batman that's, aged and he's not really Batman, but he is Batman. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting the same thing with this Batman, but yet it's only because he's so fresh that he's not the Batman. You get what I mean? And so it's like, I can't remember, when I watched 2008, I remember that shit was amazing and it changed me. And then even 2012, even though it was, whatever, it still was a great film. But I have a feeling like when I watch this film, it's going to be like a cinematic achievement to where, you're just going to be blown away.
I'm fully prepared, and I was even talking about this with somebody. I was like, man, I'm actually like trying to prepare myself to when I watch this film, I'm like, this very well could be the best Batman film ever fucking made. And I'm just like going, Jesus Christ, if I watch this and I walk out feeling like that, I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna get shit from all sorts of probably people, who about this, and I'm like, but I don't care, because if I feel that way, that's the way it is. And what I've seen, I'm like, I'm fully prepared to say that this could very well be the best Batman film ever.
Well, and that's the thing, Dave, when you say it, like the fact that we're even talking about the possibility of that now is not hyperbole.
No.
We're saying this because of everything that we have seen in the last 2 years. And
and what's impressive about that also is that it's a thing you can say without shade. Like, the reason it's such an impressive thing to say is because there's such an impressive stable of Batman movies that have come before it.
Yes,
like
exactly.
saying this could be good doesn't mean
from any of that.
Doesn't mean that Nolan or Snyder failed anywhere, or Burton or
absolutely not
failed or misstepped. What that means is like, wow, how good does this have to be better than those other ones that we love?
Well, but also you got to remember, like, Nolan's films, as good as they are, those are stories that involve somebody that's dressed like Batman, right? Like, it didn't feel like a comic book film, even though it did. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it had
Nolan's goal was to take the comic book out of the comic book movie.
Exactly, which he achieved. He perfect. That's great, and that was his goal. What I feel like Matt Reeves is doing is, no, I'm taking the comic book film, I'm going to give it a realism that you're like, this is this world. And as crazy as it is, this is Batman.
And you know what's crazy about that, Garza, and you'll see this when you do watch the clip, is that even comes out, that intent even comes out in the dialogue. Because even in what the characters are saying in that clip,
oh my god,
it's like
they're name dropping like comic booky
they do.
It's flat like it's a world building.
It's like an exploding wind up penguins style kind of name drop.
It is.
Maybe on the nose comparison.
Okay, but done properly.
Yeah, of course. I'm not. But what I'm saying is it's that level of like clearly like the type of thing that you wouldn't necessarily expect to hear or see in a movie.
It's the like, ha 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 jokes on you, Batman. But like
that kind of exactly. Well, it cuts through. Or like how you're watching BVS. And like everything is so serious, and then you get like the ha jokes on you, and you're like, oh whoa, that's like, it doesn't break the tone, but it's so like, oh, this is a world in which a clown murderer is the chief nemesis of the Bat costume wearing dude. Right. And he killed his Robin costume wearing child soldier. Like, and that's the thing that community and this so the name drop in this has a moment of like, oh whoa, this is like a universe where these things happen, but you forget that it is because it's so like
grounded.
Yes,
I say Fincher, but there's like especially with the dark cinematography, there's a lot of Godfather-esque.
Yeah,
like
and even those name drops, and we will get
Russo.
We'll get the full. we'll get
the difference is that I say Godfather, and this movie actually has dark cinematography.
It really does. I know.
Whereas like the Russos are like, this is like the Godfather, and then it's like a bunch of CGI characters on a concrete pavement.
With a fucking terrible color palette.
Whatever. But no, but the thing is that we'll get full context of this when we see the movie. But the name drops in this scene seem to be part of the plot.
Oh yeah,
or at the very least, they seem to be part of a portion of the plot. We don't know, and that's the other great thing, honestly, because I've watched this clip and I've watched the funeral clip, which is like that's the 2-minute long one that like was in standard def for a week, and then Reeves is like, "Hey, some of you might have seen this. Here's the 4K version." And I was like, "You son of a bitch!"
Did you watch that clip, Garza, at all? You didn't watch
it yet, but I probably will.
Oh my god,
dude! I call that one the 7 clip because that's where that's.
Well, I've never seen 7, so yeah.
Oh, come on!
Well, have you seen Zodiac?
No.
Okay. I'm doing you a favor because I know you. Like I know your film tastes, right? No. Before this movie comes out, watch 7 and watch Zodiac.
Please.
Not just for this movie, but also like you're gonna watch Zodiac and you're gonna be like, like you're gonna go on a David Fincher kick.
I'll second that.
Prisoners,
yes, definitely.
Prisoners.
By the way, wow! I still haven't seen Prisoners either, but
what the fuck?
Prisoners might be hard for you.
Prisoners is tough for parents. Prisoners is tough for parents.
It is. It's tough for parents. Yeah. But at least what Steven said, watch 7 and watch Zodiac before
you knowing you're gonna watch that, you're gonna be like, oh, I need to make a trailer for Zodiac now. Like it's gonna itch that like that.
No, he's gonna make a
sizzle reel that you made, that Real Anarchy sizzle reel you made.
Yeah,
is like Zodiac and 7 fit like right in that perfectly.
Dude, you need to. That's your homework for the.
I think so. Yeah, Garza, I would agree with that. That's because that's the thing. Like, you know, when looking at the aesthetic of this film, like that that's why the hype is. That's why we're not being hyperbolic when we talk about this possibly being the best Batman film ever. We're seeing all of these other great films in this one. And it's 2 hours and 55 fucking minutes.
I know. So that's the other thing that I don't. I'm just like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Like, listen, I was talking about this earlier. I was like, listen, Matt Reeves is a director. He's looking at all of the things that he's planning on doing. There is not a fucking option where he's just randomly during a fucking interview 2 weeks ago going, oh, you know what? If I could make Mr. Freeze work, or if I could make, Grounded this or that, like maybe I might be able to bring him in. I'm like, no, motherfucker, you've known literally.
He's already thinking about it. Yeah.
Well, and notice as we get closer now, all of a sudden, him and Pattinson both were like, Pattinson was like, I don't know, Robin would be kind of hard to do, but I do like a death in the family. And then Reeves is like, yeah, I agree with that. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Exactly. It's like, you guys are just talking about it randomly in interviews. Like, you haven't thought about it. Like, get the fuck out of here.
The fact that Pattinson was like, but he has to be 13. Just kidding. No, he realizes the impact of the fact of, that's one of the things that, when it comes to Batman Forever, it's like, they introduced Robin and, it's great. It's whatever. But, let's face it, Chris O'Donnell, he was like 30 years old. It's like with an earring in his ear.
But that towel, the towel.
The towel trick, yes. The towel
I don't know. What do you call that? I guess a scene, the towel scene.
With
the thing, that sequence of towel moves was a thing that happened. That's
totally,
what are you talking about? You never done nunchucks with your socks, Steven? Come on.
Wait, isn't that the one where that he opens the door and the perspective is like, how tall is she? Am I thinking of that?
Which one? Like,
I feel like there's a shot where he like opens the door and Batgirl is there, or what's her name?
That's in Batman and Robin.
That's in Batman and Robin. The laundry scene you're talking about for the towel is in Batman Forever.
Yeah,
that's when he's first in Wayne Manor.
But am I right that there's that shot though, like where he opens the door is framed in a way where it's like it's almost forces perspective accidentally to make him
there's many times where it's forced perspective. Even like in Batman Forever, like there's many times where Val Kilmer is on like another step. So he looks way taller than
right, but I'm saying it was like an accident, like that Fast and Furious scene where Dom and and Brian are talking, but they're like, or maybe it's Dom and The Rock, but they're offset, they're offset so that like it doesn't make sense. It's not like they're trying to force the height. It was like they were just talking, and you're like, wait, are they standing next to each other? Or are they like it was going around on Twitter a while back? Anyway,
I was going to say
this whole thing doesn't.
The fact that he brought Mr. Freeze up and then he brings up the Court of Owls, like that'd be cool. I'm like, dude, you're not just talking about these ideas that you're like, oh, maybe this interviewer, he brought up some cool things. I think I might use it. It's like, no, motherfucker. You have thought this all out. If there's going to be a trilogy,
they both have, and they've both been like, because Pattinson, like, what was that one interview where he's like, he was already talking about stuff for the second movie. So it's like, we're not even, when it comes to like, I've said this before, when it comes to looking at like the performance of this movie, it's like, okay, we don't even really have to worry about what it's going to do at the box office. However, it is getting released in China, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the fan IMAX, pre-screenings or whatever the fuck. I mean, those things sold out. 350 locations IMAX. Those tickets aren't normal tickets. I mean, I paid $25 a pop over here in fucking SoCal for free tickets.
They're gouging you guys. I paid $10.
Yeah. See, that's what sucks about SoCal. It's like it was $25 a fucking pop over here.
That sucks. Was it AMC?
15.
Was it AMC, Dave?
Yep, AMC.
AMC. Well, I heard one. I forget. Scott was telling me that somebody we know paid $30 for theirs. It's like 30. Damn, what the hell? Like, but Dave. No, like this is a sequel is assured, right? Like this isn't. Absolutely. We don't have any doubts that they're going to continue this. Right. Really, the biggest thing that I think the biggest question we have now is like, okay, we know you're doing the Gotham PD show. We know you're doing the Penguin show. Can you officially tell us whether or not you're going to do a Catwoman show? Because
that's
I think he should do a Mr. Freeze show. Like that'd be the most realistic thing because
he'd probably have to do it after the sequel, though.
Well, yeah, no, he would do it before the sequel.
What bald actor do we want to fan cast as Mr. Freeze?
I mean,
who plays Gus?
Because it's got to be a bald actor, right? It's got to be like Cranston from
No, because that's the most obvious.
What's his name?
Jesse Eisenberg.
That'd be funny. That would be funny.
What's his name from? He's been Somebody brought up what's his name from he's in Rogue One. He played Hannibal. He was in Casino Royale. I can't remember.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Chief,
Mickelson.
yeah.
Mickelson.
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen.
He'd work. No, Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads
Yes.
Mikkelsen would work.
He's a good.
Yeah, can you imagine him? I mean, he just imagine him being a freeze. But then at the same time, you have what's his name, who played Gus in Breaking Bad.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes, him. He'd be a great Mr. Freeze. I mean,
he'd be a couple of villains, truthfully, but yeah, definitely Miss Freeze. He can Miss Freeze, yeah. But I guess his schedule on The Boys kind of depends on that, right? Because that's his superhero thing that he's doing now. Because he's what's his name, Mr. Edgar in The Boys.
Yeah,
but they've already filmed that, so.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, this is the hype for this movie is it's deserved at this point, seriously. And it doesn't seem, and I don't know, obviously everybody that has seen it to this point is NDAs and silent and everything, but so many people are looking at this and they're gauging it against what is the best Batman movie ever? The Dark Knight. For me, it's Batman Begins. Batman Begins is the bar as far as solo Batman movies. For me, personally, subjectively.
Well, see, as a Batman fan, I can agree with that. I mean, even though Dark Knight is my top, but Batman Begins holds a special place in my heart because somebody actually brought this to my attention. Even on my timeline on Twitter, was the tone between Batman Begins and Dark Knight, the shift is pretty jarring. And I'm like, you know what? It is. Because you watch both of those back to back, you go, holy shit. You almost think that it could be a different director because of the tone shift in the way that everything's portrayed. I mean, when it came to Batman Begins and the Narrows and how that aesthetic looked, you don't get that in Dark Knight. You get this whole this is
different city.
International.
City.
You don't get that. It almost feels like a different city.
The color palette has changed too. It's not as warm and as orange as Begins is.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it does feel like that. So that's why. And when somebody goes, Batman Begins is my favorite Batman movie, I get it. I mean, I'm all about Dark Knight.
Oh, and also seeing Scarecrow for the first time, you know what I mean? Dude, that was a legit version of Scarecrow, and Carmine Falcone.
Exactly, the Falcone stuff was awesome, and then there was also the origin story. So those are always
see, and that's the other crazy part, Garza, is even with all these clips and everything that we're seeing, there's still so much other stuff that I completely forgot that John Turturro is Falcone in this movie.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about that. I'm like, son of a bitch. Yeah, he's here too.
That's Al Pacino, actually.
Yeah. I was gonna say, don't you mean Al Pacino?
Yeah, that's who that is.
I immediately all of us had that joke in our heads, and I was like, I'm not gonna say it.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine saying that and then totally leaving Twitter because of that? Bro.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Holy Lord, man!
Wow.
He never came back, did he? He never.
I don't think he did. No, I think he did.
I remember I was following him. He was following me, and when that happened, holy shit, that was the end point. Oh man,
it's so funny when that kind of stuff happens. I feel kind of bad for the person, but Twitter is so funny to me how few people can
take a hit.
I don't want to say it people need to be able, people need to not bully people, I guess I should say, but also
if I would have fucked up like that, dude, I would have owned it.
The level of thin skin that, it's not even that you would have owned it. What is there to own? Sure you screwed up, but just move. Don't do anything. Nobody cares. Nobody actually cares.
Right. If he had stayed on Twitter, it would have been.
Dude, I would have been
a second.
I would have been my bad. What's it called? Autocorrect fucked it up. I meant I would have done the name. I would have been dude.
Right. Oh, I mean, you would have made it a big deal. You would have been
I would have.
Like you wouldn't have let it go. People would have been like, Garza, stop talking about fucking Al Pacino.
I would have made fun of myself because that's how funny the shit was. But
yeah,
it's like, bro, I wouldn't have been like, oh man, I gotta leave Twitter because of this. Like, all right, I'm out.
Well, according to Jose, he came back. I don't know if like this is true, but Jose said he came back, Dave, but now he hates Zach and only loves Reeves. I don't know if that's true.
No,
like Jose could be joking with us too. Who knows?
A lot of the hate for Zach comes from hate of his fandom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and Casey, that's a great point because a lot of I feel like even like I feel like the people that hate Zack Snyder now, like so many of them, like even some of the YouTubers and definitely the people on Twitter, they're doing it just because they don't want it. Like whether they hate him or not, they don't want to give the fan base an inch.
Yes,
specifically the toxic.
Or some of them also just like trolling the fans because they can get a rise out of them.
Yes,
and like they love Zach, but they're like, it's more entertaining for me to like troll the fans than it is to like be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
Like I would rather be seen as somebody who trolls them than like be like one of those. Like so.
Right.
Which I mean, and I'll even admit. I mean, there were so many times when I'm like gonna tweet something Snyder related and be like, you know what? I don't need to talk about Zack Snyder today. Like the last thing the internet needs is like me being like, you know what? Nobody has said about Zack Snyder before. Like, and a lot of times it's because like it is not because of the even like, I don't care about the hate. It's because of the like. As somebody who loves Zack Snyder and like talks about his movies a lot, obviously, to be like, oh, here's the thing I like about Zack Snyder. I don't want my comments like I'm gonna have a comment thread full of like restore the Snyderverse and how dare they. It's like, can I just enjoy his movies and enjoy him and celebrate his work without it being some thing
narrative,
every single time?
Thank you,
something like that.
Thank you for saying that because I it is one of those touchy things that you always wonder like how are people going to react when you say this, but it's like I am tired of the hashtags. I am tired of the fighting. I'm tired, and when I say the fighting, I mean I'm tired of just like I said. I'm quite honestly like when when more Rebel Moon stuff comes out, I just want to be able to enjoy the Rebel Moon casting. I want to be able to enjoy Sofia Boutella's workouts. I want to be able to enjoy like stuff that comes out for it without seeing the damn hashtag in every conversation that we have about it, or whenever his name comes up.
Well, and especially when you're just like, oh, here's a cool Snyder gif, and then somebody just like comments like hashtag restore the Snyderverse. It's like, thanks. I get like doing your job or whatever.
Right.
Cool, bro.
The problem is that some of these people will, when Rebel Moon comes out, some of these people will hop onto that train and then start toxically defending that movie against some of the criticisms that will come for that movie as well. So that's where it would even get more frustrating for us.
Yeah. Well, that's why I tap out of more and more of that stuff. If like,
well, just like the Peacemaker stuff allowed me to mute a lot of people. Dude, my timeline has literally just been like fucking
peaceful.
Good now. I'm like, I'm not even seeing shit anymore.
Muting is the truth.
Yeah.
You know what? Like over the last day or so, like
it's just I've been like, okay, mute.
I've tweeted like multiple things like today, even like because I tweeted about the Ray Fisher thing, I tweeted about Peacemaker stuff, and the same thing that you were talking about that one time, Steven, when you brought up the whole quality filter thing. It happened like 5 times today. Right, tweeted something, and apparently the Toxics got a hold of it, and it was quote tweeted. Like one of my like a couple of my things are like quote tweeted like 11 times, and I didn't know. Like hours later, like you know what? Somebody quote tweeted me that had me blocked, and one of my mutuals is like, "Is this harassment because they keep quote tweeting you?" And I'm like, "No, I had no idea they were quote tweeting me until you tagged me in this."
Well, and what's great about that too is that because then by the time you find out. You still have that, like your brain still does that, like, oh, I got to respond thing. But when you don't find out until like an hour or a few hours later or whatever, and you're like, well, just you've calmed down, but you're like,
Oh yeah, I heard that last week.
If I didn't even know that they were being little shits for the past 3 hours and I was doing something else and enjoying myself, do I really need to jump into that pool, or like can I just like continue letting them make noise? It's like, and I was watching. Did I mention that I've been listening to a lot of Eminem recently? And I also don't like Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Is it because of the halftime show? Did you
no?
Because you know.
Oh, you know what? That might have started. I've always
great halftime show. By the way,
I'm really. I mean, as a short explanation, I've always liked him a lot, but I really appreciate albums as complete works, and not a lot of artists make like proper albums, and his work has always been so thematically tight in that way, where every single album is like of an era, not just in history, but also of him personally. And I've always appreciated that, and then also appreciated kind of his evolution as an artist and a person, like over the years. But I've never listened to his albums in like chronological order, and so I kind of started off listening to some of his old stuff, and then as I'm hearing stuff and it's reminding me of how he is today and what he talks about today, it started being like, oh, that's cool. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to just work through his whole discography in chronological order. And it's just been a really kind of cool biographical peek. But anyway, I brought that up because I was watching then an interview with him where he was talking about the Machine Gun Kelly diss back and forth that they had. And he was asked, he was like, did you, like, what happened with that? He's like, man, I don't even want to talk about that. He's like, I don't, like, when I first heard, the Machine Gun Kelly first dissed him.
About his daughter.
He did. He's like, I didn't even know about that for like it happened like 6 years ago. I didn't even know about that. And it wasn't until I was on YouTube and I saw a video that was like, Machine Gun Kelly, this is Eminem. And I was like, what the fuck? And so he's like, I looked into it and I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's like, and at that point, I didn't even care. I was like, don't talk about my daughter, but also like, we're past that, like, whatever. But then he started like basically turning this into a publicity tour for himself. And so I was just ignoring him. But then he dissed me on a Tech 9 track. And then after that called it out on Twitter again. And at this point, he's like, I'm like, dude, just shut the fuck up. Like, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck? Just shut the fuck up. Stop talking about me. Stop talking about my daughter. I don't want shit to do with you. What are you doing? What the fuck is this? And then he was like, and it makes me mad because I don't want to, like, the temptation is to just like respond with a diss track. And he's like, and I realize people say that I'm like irrelevant in like the hip hop scene, but me responding to a diss track is a big deal to the person I'm like. Yeah, I will do far more good for him by saying his name than I will to just
or
ignore
even acknowledging him. Yeah.
And he's like, but I want to destroy him because this is just stupid and he's stupid and it would be easy to like just chew it up and like just whatever. But he's like, but like I don't want to give that so I don't know what I'm going to do yet is what he was saying. But it was just a really interesting interview because it's funny because he's talking about like someone sent me a screenshot from Twitter, and so it's just funny that it's like the same context. But hearing him just be like, the things that it's to bring quantum physics into it, but if you look at the idea that energy can't be created or destroyed, it's only transferred. I think that you can expand that, even if it's just metaphorically, you can expand that outside of like physical matter, or not physical, like out of physical.
Burn down the house, particles still exist. Particles
exactly.
of the house become particles of smoke.
But you look at that in terms of like what you put your energy into. If you give your energy to something that is taking your energy on, if you're putting your energy into something creatively, you're giving energy to art, and that art will bear that energy, and it will share it with other people, or it'll give meaning to you, or we are giving ourselves and the audience our energy right now, and it's something that is beneficial to us. We're talking about things that matter to us and talking and hopefully people are getting something from it, entertainment wise or otherwise, in the chat, and we're being edified by this, maybe. But and so then when you start talking about just like Twitter bullshit. It's like, okay, so I'm literally like taking my time and my energy, and what am I putting it into? Am I putting it into something that like I am going to benefit from? Am I putting it into something that I am going to get a residual return from? Am I benefiting myself and my friends from this, or am I just giving my energy to a person I don't want to give my energy to? I don't want them to have my energy. If I have a finite amount of energy, I would rather put it into something that like I enjoy and I'm going to get a return from, or that somebody I care about is going to get a return from. I don't want to give it to somebody who is using their energy to piss me off in the first place.
Right.
That's the same. It's the same thing as, before I muted a lot of people, when I would scroll down and I'd see somebody just saying something stupid, and I'd be like, I want to make fun of this, but like, what's the fucking point? Like, you know what? It's not gonna matter. I'll just mute and just keep going.
That's all I gotta do.
Now I'm never gonna see it again. So hey, that's really all I give a fuck about. So
that's the way to do it.
I will say that speaking of energy, I'm gonna go to bed.
You know what? I think it's a good place to wrap this up. To be honest,
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to bring up the Batman thing, and hopefully you guys all have had your Batman pizza. There's a Batman burger also out there. Get that, of course. I think I'm gonna get myself another Batman pizza this weekend. Maybe not me myself. Maybe my alter ego. Anyways. Let's go around the horn.
You go to Little Caesars as a casual Batman and film
Dude,
it
can you imagine if I walked in there? Oh man, don't give me more ideas, Steven. Jeez,
wow.
I just walked in there and just hey.
What would you rather do? Walk in as casual Batman and order something and film it and then like just get the fuck out, or go in and be like, all right, I'm going to put on a Batman costume and I'm going to come in. Would you guys do a bit with me? Like, I'd almost rather just like get it, like pull the Band-Aid off and just, like, get it over with. As opposed the pitch process.
Don't give them time. Yeah, don't give them time, dude. Just
I know. I think I would just walk in and walk out,
Order it online and just pick it up.
It'd be great if you
they have that pizza portal thing.
You know what? They have the pizza portal. Yes, he could totally.
He should go through the drive-through as casual Batman and order in a wrap. That would be a big thing. That's a thing YouTubers do, right?
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Oh man. We'll see what happens. I don't know. But anyways, it's been a fun full panel. Obviously, thank you to Enosh for showing up, and thank you to Ben for showing off. Did I say showing off? Showing up. Yeah, he's showing off. But anyways, let's go around the horn. Garza, you can go first.
You could follow me.
Yeah, yawning.
I'm fucking tired, bro. I'm exhausted.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. There's Garza. Follow him. That's all he's got. If you want to duck out, you can, Garza. It's fine.
All right. I love you guys.
All right.
Thank you for having me on.
See ya.
Pleasure being back on.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, Steven.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Colbert. You can follow me on social medias at SM Colbert. You can find my writing at screenrant.com, and you can find me and Andrew Dice talking a lot about Zack Snyder on BVS by the Minute, and Rebel Moon by the Minute is like getting some attention now because there's actually stuff to talk about with that, and that's all at SnyderMinute.com along with Army of the Dead and Justice League and all our Snyder talking.
There you go. All that Snyder talking. KC, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Dude, I love the animation that you put behind Peacemaker, by the way.
Yeah, it was too dark behind him.
You just quickly mocked up an animation. I'm like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So you can find me at Krypton Cage on all social media, and you can find me at The Real Talk Live, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and all the latest entertainment news every weekend.
There it is. All right, Ray.
You can find me on Twitter at The Flightcast. You can find my writing and my weekly podcast at theflightcast.com or wherever you get podcasts. You can also find I'm still continuing Monday Morning Sports Ball. My most recent episode was a fun one where I had to basically cope with living in a world where Matthew Stafford has won a Super Bowl because we live in that timeline now.
I will note, I've been waiting to say this because it just happened accidentally. I was today years old when I found out who won the Super Bowl this year.
You were today?
what you just said right now is the first time I didn't watch.
You didn't watch anything about it?
It's been like nearly a week. You
I know.
See no clips, no nothing.
And then when I realized it was a couple days later, and I was like, I don't know who won. And I was like, you know what? Let's see how long it takes for me to find out through other means. So there we go. You saying Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl was the first time I heard who won the Super Bowl this year. So that's just interesting.
Yes,
yeah.
the LA Rams won the Super Bowl. That is wow. Okay. There you have it. Well, yes. So I that was my last episode. Now I'm getting into the winter sports stuff with like hockey and there's football off season stuff too to talk about on Sports Ball. And then of course I'm also on Squadcast Media. Brent and I are still co-hosting Fans Without Borders. We're off for the next couple of weeks. Our next episode will be our review of the Batman because I'm seeing it early. He's seeing it on the 4th. Our next episode will be that weekend. And I've been doing DC TV Squadcast again, binging all of those. But this week's episode, Scott and I discussed Peacemaker the whole season. We also talked about Superman and Lois. And I told him whether or not he should continue watching Naomi because that was a debate. So
good debate right there. All right. Well, thank you to everybody who joined tonight. And this has always been, every vodka stream. It's fun, even though it was like a wine stream. You know what? I completed the bottle. So good for me.
Oh, wow.
There you go. On
is that Yellowtail?
Yep. Love Yellowtail,
nice.
man.
All right.
That's, I don't
Good
get
deal.
that California shit. I get that Australian shit. Anyways, guys, smash that like, thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Goodbye to everybody. Selena, Jose, Mama Film Junkie, everybody out there, Captain Gator Girl, everybody. And we appreciate you guys doing this. You got the Patreon down there. Everything's down below. And it's been great. Talk to you later.